He is using those to cover for B shifts, open budgeted position, and he's using it for C shifts, open non-budgeted position. So we've talked about 2023's had only 30 positions budgeted. And when I went back and looked at the file, it was a patrolman they only had 11 patrolmen budgeted in the file. Now, how we got to that point, I'm not sure, but that's what I found when I went back and looked through 2023's budgeted file. So that's the reason when we kind of built this is we put open budgeted because he does have an opening position that he is backfilling on B shift. And then on C shift, which is the third column, he has a position that he needs to fill, but however, in FY23, it's not budgeted. But we do propose to budget that for FY24 to put him back up to 31 positions, which would fill all four, what do you call it?
Positions within the.
Yeah, he'll have 4 per shift, there you go,
Okay.
shifts. So that would put him up to what would currently today be full staff without the additional 3 ones with the grant. So if we added the 3 with the grant, then he would have 5 on 3 shifts, 3 of these A, B, C, D, or however he would structure it. Does that make sense to everybody? Does anybody have any questions that I would need to go back and give you any information for?
No, I'm fine. I was having trouble coming up with 31, but I was not counting the 2 canine officers.
Yes.
That's the reason I wasn't. It looks like you're going back to 2018 when we had 28. That was probably along about the time we started putting on SROs.
That's correct.
So the 31, we got 31 now, which is 3 more.
Correct.
So we've replaced those SROs.
Yes.
Yeah, which I knew we did because I remember doing it. Richard, when we did that, Richard Howell, the chief, he would not allow any officer to go to a school as an SRO until he got that position filled in-house. He had to have that position filled before he would allow officer to go. So I'm good with 31 because my numbers are jumping around from 29 to 30 to 31, so I'm good with 31.
So that will add add back 1 for next year because of course we'll go from the 30 to 31, but that's in the budgeted numbers that is in your book right now.
And I think if I'm not mistaken, on that SRO, and I can just be sure that, I'm sure Kevin knows this, I think that we sign that agreement every year, don't we, Kevin? Is that a yearly deal?
We're supposed to. Actually, we just pulled it out. But I think we're supposed to. I don't know what we've done it, but we pulled an agreement out and we were reviewing it this week. So
I believe it goes on, but it's just a deal to where you're going to continue it unless you stop it, but you have to sign it every year. Is that right?
Yes. As a matter of fact, that's the intent to do it that we did.
So are we behind on signing that agreement?
I think we had a few that just carried on, and after we talked with Eric and Bill Hopkins, I think that's going to be what we do from now on. But you're absolutely correct. That is what it meant to be.
But we've not been doing that. We're not up to
We
date.
have had a couple of years that we were just on the same one that was signed earlier.
I didn't know that. How are we ever going to get to the point where we do what we're supposed to do when we're supposed to do it?
Just consistency, that's something we're working on now, just trying to make sure everything is in
Yeah.
order, meeting with everybody, so we would have a game plan, a blueprint that would exist even beyond 10 years here, so that's what we're working on now.
Yeah, good.
Because I agree that we do need, and
Yeah, you need to have I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, no, you go ahead.
I think we were in transition during some of that stuff that was supposed to be signed here and there. interviewing and
Could have
looking
been.
at, yeah, I think we were.
And-
We
If I'm
probably
not
was.
mistaken.
And then if I made
Because
a,
it was,
I'm sorry.
it was the,
Well, the school system dropped it too.
Yeah, I'm gonna make an
Yeah,
assumption too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make an assumption just by looking at the
Yeah.
dates of stuff, that some things got lost in transition through the
Right.
COVID period.
Yeah.
And when everybody was not functioning as normal, so a lot of things look like we had a little breakdown in those periods.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that some of it was transition.
Well,
Because at that time, you know,
Yeah.
we had interim, administrator, everybody was everywhere.
yeah.
And in the process of looking for a city administrator.
But even in transition, we need to get some kind of a list started. So this needs to be done every year. So somebody's looking at it. I don't know who
Where
needs
the
to be
ball
looking.
is not dropped, right.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just us dropping the ball. Apparently,
And we
the
have
school system did too.
started meetings, so we won't miss
Right.
any of those breaks. So we actually even had a meeting this week and last week to
Okay.
make sure we did.
So you got it all worked out.
How are y'all doing?
We're working it, yes, sir.
Bang.
All right.
I know I missed a couple minutes when I had to step out, but if there were going to be any changes made in the SRO agreement, would that come before the board for discussion before it was, okay.
That would.
Okay, and for clarification, the SROs, when school is out, come back into the system?
No. Only
What
because
do they do when-
they come in when needed because they work so many hours.
during the,
Absolutely.
School system.
Mhm. And I know I came in late as well, but, yeah, I talked to some officers yesterday, right when I come in, and,
okay,
no, they do not work all the time, but saying that, we're not utilizing the K-9 officers like we're supposed to either. We hadn't in 4 years. So we are shorthanded.
And I was gonna just confirm that last year when somebody was on vacation, they would put in.
They would fill in.
Yes,
And that's what they do now as
Yeah.
well. And that's what
Yeah.
the K-9 officers are doing too, but that's not their positions.
right, absolutely. So,
Any more, anything else we need to?
No, I'm clear myself. I'm just glad that we're getting back on and signing an agreement every year. That's awful.
I think some of
Here's
the
the deal.
problems with the COVID, I think a few things got off during COVID, and which it
Yeah.
did every place, but that's where it looks like.
Was there a reason why we do it that often, or do you know? I've never read the agreement, I don't believe.
I don't know.
Well, I read it early on, but I don't remember it. I guess that's pretty regular, do it every year, but that's what we're gonna do, that's all right.
sensible, yeah. They keep things consistent.
Okay, well, somebody figured that out, hit it there.
The question I do have, Roger made a comment of we're not utilizing the K-9 officers.
Like we're supposed to. They're not doing the regular drug intervention like they're supposed to be doing. The dogs and the handlers are actually working the shifts that they're short, like we got 4, 4, and 3. So they're supposed to be working any hours of the day. They're not supposed to be sitting down working from morning shift to the 5 o'clock when they get off. They can come in any time of the day, 24/7. Drug intervention actually helps the city because it brings money to our drug fund. And we haven't done any intervention because we're short-handed.
But they're not utilizing them because the chief is not doing his job, or they're not doing their job.
No. The chief, I didn't say
Yeah,
the
that's
chief
what-
wasn't doing the job. The chief is doing the job because we're short-handed. He's putting them in positions to fill these other slots that are.
They're working as deputies, not where
They're working as office city officers,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
But the way that, when you get hired as a K-9 officer and a handler, you're supposed to be able to come in first, second, fourth, third shift when needed. And that's not just us. They get a mutual call from Madison County, Giles County, a child lost somewhere, or anything. So we're not utilizing like we're supposed to in the way they're supposed to be working them.
Yeah,
And
I
the
just
way
wanted
they
to
worked
make
4 years ago.
clarification on that.
No, I did not say anything about the chief not using his employees like he's supposed to. He's using them exactly because they're filling slots, but those dogs are to be worked any time of the day, both of them.
So we're looking at the organizational chart. We got the chief up at the top, then we got 2 commanders comes in under that. And then off the side over here, we've got 3 investigators, and we got 2 canine officers, and we got 3 SROs. And then you go back up and begin to get in, then you've got 2 people in administration, that's the clerks. Then you got the evidence tech. Then you got over under patrol, you've got 1 lieutenant. And under that lieutenant, you've got 4 shifts. And every one of those shifts has got 4 positions. Now, they might not be filled, but they got 4 positions there. That's what we've had for the last, I don't know how many years. So I'm having a hard time seeing where we're shorthanded.
Because these K-9 officers, Danny, are not supposed to be working any guaranteed shift. They're supposed to be working any, when they're supposed to be doing exactly what they're hired for, interdiction, drug interdiction. And we haven't in 4 years. Talking to them, they have not worked exactly in 4 years because of COVID, pre-COVID, and everything that's happening, and we've been shorthanded. So they're having to fill in.
But when you've got the positions available, well, we done beat this horse to death anyway, we're doing the vote on it, but when you've got the positions available, their positions are there, you just don't have them filled. If they're filled, it doesn't affect anybody if they're filled, which are never hardly ever filled. But the positions is there for whoever they can hire. When you go hiring several people, try to make up because you can't keep your positions filled, you need to work on trying to figure some way to keep your positions filled.
Well,
Which I hope it will. I hope it will.
They need raises, that'll keep them filled.
Yeah, I hope it will, moving forward.
As far as turnover, I've asked HR to pull how many we've lost in our departments over the last year, is what I asked her, because we were short on time. But we've lost 8 in the police department, 8 in public works, and 7 in fire department over the last year.
And 2 of the fire department just happened this week,
That's correct,
walked out Monday.
yes.
So do we not see a problem?
How many in
They're
fire,
wrong.
7?
7.
But it's not only that, we're not keeping their feet in the fire either. We can send them to school on our money and they sign a contract. And from what I can understand, there's been several officers, and y'all can back this up if it's not true. When they sign that contract, we send them to academy on our dime. They're supposed to say they're X amount of years or a year or 2, and they're not. And we're not holding their feet to the fire to pay them back, and we're losing that money as well.
Well,
So
they should be paying that back. We're trying very hard.
if you can show me
to
that we're paying it,
enforce
yeah, but we have not.
Yeah.
I do.
But even that's not strict enough. That's not, I think within 2 years, they gotta pay it back within 2 years or something like that.
Right, but you got some coming in within 2 or 3 months, and they're done. They're
I know,
gone, so
that's
because
what-
other counties are paying them better than we are, and it's,
That's if they leave within the 2 years.
that's
Yeah.
right. But no, we,
If they leave within 2 years, is that prorated or they have to pay the whole amount?
It's prorated.
It's prorated.
prorated.
Well, should be the whole amount. To prorated or
I believe
something.
that's right, isn't that right?
I think it's prorated.
Yeah, I think so.
But anyway, that's an internal issue that
It's an internal policy.
I guess we'll continue to work on. So, but I like his chart. I like his chart we put together. It's clear. Good job.
Okay, the next one you have is the information on, the planning director's, pay that I needed to kind of clarify and provide additional detail for. I've provided some information in the email as well, so I'm hoping that you've kind of had time to kind of review that. Does anyone have any additional questions over that I need to provide
You were very clear.
more
Appreciate
information? Okay.
Yeah, I think it got as clear as it can be. I mean, I think every
You
department
answered
head
everything
should be
we
at level
asked.
9.
Thank you.
Got one at level 8. I think that department head should be in level 9 with the rest of them. Might not have as many employees to look after, but I'm gonna tell you what that department's got. A bunch of headaches, complaints, planning just got all kinds of complaints to do. I got 1-4 left to come here. I got 1-4 left to come here. I've got to talk to him about it. So that particular position, even though there might not be that many employees in that department, I think the complaints that they have to deal with the planning commission on a monthly basis extra. I hope we'll be able to move that up to level 9.
And that one as well is within the current proposed budget that's already in there.
So you got the 13,000, whatever it is in there.
Yes, sir, that's already in the budget that's in there, so.
What I think we need to do is somebody needs to take a pencil on the side. Jamie, you'd be good to do it. As we go through here, $13,000, how much more is that going to take on property taxes? We're going to need to know because all these increases we do is not funded. We're going to look for some way of funding on all of them if we do any increases. And the only place we really got to go is property taxes. So what's $13,000 going to cost us 0.62? Less than a penny, over half, less than a penny, about 0.62. As we go forward, we need to kind of remember that, so we kind of remember, because we're fixing to get into some big property tax talk. But even the small things, what we've been doing is we've been throwing these little small things in. Well, this is not small to me, but you know what I'm saying. And we keep throwing them in and not funding them some way, and then we keep getting built up on fund balance. To me, and I mean on just about everything, well, the reoccurring, not the capital necessarily, but the reoccurring costs going forward. The bottom line is the grants and the free money, American Rescue Fund is gone. We've lived on that for 3 years and we don't have it live on no more. So I would like us to kind of remember, okay, if we want to do this, we might want to kind of plug in a half a penny to cover it at the end of well, it's going to be about 0.62 is what it's going to be. So I'm sorry, Dorothy, go ahead.
I'm just waiting on you to get through.
Do I ever finish?
No.
I'm going to finish.
I'm waiting
okay.
on a lag in this conversation. And I'd like to know, when you get to that point, when we get to where we are, when we're talking about the bottom line, I want to know what percentage is in salaries
Okay, and I have
and what might have been the percentage in last budget as well, for comparison.
On salaries
Yes.
citywide?
Yes, mhm.
Okay, and that's something that I can prepare. I don't have that
Right,
actually
yes,
prepared for
going forward.
tonight. I can do that and base off our operating and then our salary portion and break that percentage up over our total overall budget. That's something good to look at and see what percentages based off of which bucket.
Right.
Well, you've got it broke up if we decide to do this, this, and this.
Yes,
But
now,
that's a big if. so,
when we get
yeah.
to discussing that property
Right.
tax, I have a spreadsheet where we can kind of finesse that a little bit if you wanted to move
Right.
percentages per bucket.
If you want to go 50 on, or back
I
to
do.
40.
I
or back
have that one ready, so
You got
we
that
we can change
scenario?
that one. I've already have that set up. But as far as overall and adding up overall fully burdened salaries, like all of FICA, all of those, and rolling all of that up together, because when we talk about salaries, we need to get the fully burdened salary, not just the 111 account. We need
Right,
to get
right.
everything.
It's kind of, that's the reason I wanted you to kind of keep up with as we go through. Say,
Yes.
we're going to get to an end with some kind of number, but what's it going to cost to cover these reoccurring costs?
Right.
Is it going to cost 25 cents? Is it going to cost 50? Is it going to cost
Right.
whatever?
And this
you
one
know?
is in there right
Right.
now.
Okay.
So this one has already been covered with what we have existing.
Okay.
Okay.
So this one would not be in addition.
So this will be, this is already covered.
Correct.
Okay.
This was, yes.
You got this already covered?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Because it's a big difference between salaries and salary and benefits.
Yeah, the fully
So,
burdened
yeah,
cost.
yeah,
It-
'cause
it's-
you don't think about that.
When you
till-
add the insurance.
That's what we've been
you add
trying to
all-
get over, is that to think about all of it, including the benefits, because that's very important.
Right.
That's another 25%.
Exactly.
It is.
The salaries.
So if anyone has anything else that they need on this, just please let me know. But, okay. The next one you have is pay scale. This is the current fire department pay scale. One reason I wanted to show this is there's a difference with the fire department, as in, I won't call them a little bit special, but they're a little bit different on when we calculate their pay rate, because they're based on a 106-hour rate versus the typical 80-hour a week employee. So I wanted to see that. So when you're going through and you're kind of backing into a salary for them, you can't use, we can't use just an 80-hour a week
80 hours, 2 weeks.
calculations.
Right, 80
hours
2 weeks.
bi-weekly, yes. So I just wanted to kind of give this to you so that you can see, because, if you hear maybe the Chief Kimbrough talking about where his employees are compared to other people, you may hear him say a certain rate. And then if you look at it, you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. How do I get there? It's because he's using 106 hours, because that's how his department is structured, is 106 versus 80, because the fire department works 106 hours
Okay,
versus
so,
versus 80 hours.
okay, the pay scale is set up on 80 hours.
It,
The pay scale, the actual pay scale is set up on 2 weeks, every 2 weeks.
every 2 weeks.
And if you go to that pay scale and you figure these guys and ladies, you're gonna have $15, $16, $17 an hour, whatever, on that pay scale, because the pay scale is on 80 hours. All
There's
right,
a difference.
but here's my question.
Yes.
Okay, an employee works 80 hours a week, 2 weeks.
Yes.
And typically, if it's some other department, they get overtime if they go with that 80 hours. Right,
For
some
an
other department.
80-hour employee, yes.
Yeah.
The fire and the police department are different. They
Okay,
have
on the fire
different
department,
regulations.
I'll stay with the fire department. So, how long, I'm sitting here looking at a firefighter or whatever, and they're working 106 hours. Is that every 2 weeks?
Yes. They work 212 a month.
So why are we telling them they make $15, $16, $17 an hour when they're making 12?
We don't tell them that. They know what their hourly rate is. They know.
But they
that-
hire in on the pay scale. They're on the pay scale. They
are on the pay scale just like everyone else.
They are like everybody else.
But their hourly rate is based on a 106-hour rate versus an 80-hour rate.
So we're paying them $12 and $13 an hour.
Yes,
And that's what's the problem.
that's come out in committee.
Right. Well, I mean, look at the right side. Forget about what they're paid an hour. Look at their annual salary. You can make more at Walmart. And these guys are out here saving lives and taking care of the city. And this is what we think of them. And that's why they're quitting. How many quit this week? 2.
And he
There's
has one
a
open
reason.
prior open position, and then
And
he's had
I'm
to.
like everybody else. Do I hate taxes got to go up? But I hate that it's going to have to happen. If you want the city to survive and to thrive, we're going to have to go up on taxes, and we're going to have to pay these guys what they need, so this town will become a ghost town.
We have to realize as well, and I'm not disputing what you're saying right there, we have to realize the area that we live in.
But I'm saying is,
Because-
we can grow this city, but it's not going to grow if we can't keep people here.
I know what you're saying, and I'm not arguing that point. I'm saying we have to look at the whole pie here. What you're saying is absolutely right, but we're also in this rural area, in this town, the way it works now, you have to be in line with the area you live in.
I'm with you on that, but just look at
Right.
the towns
We
beside
can't-
us.
We shouldn't, I shouldn't say shouldn't. You can't pay somebody $20 an hour in Fayetteville. You might can in Murfreesboro.
I'm talking about the counties joining us.
But I mean, even McDonald's pays
That's
more
what I'm
than
saying. I mean, this is- so
I know what you're saying, but you gotta find this money. And you'll be in as big a pickle with property taxes as you are with these salaries. I mean, it takes a balance, and she's
It
working
does,
her
yeah,
can off
right.
to get that balance, but we need to realize across the board where we are. And I'm not disputing anything that anybody gets as a salary or needs as a salary, but we have to be commensurate with where we live.
And also, I mean, not only is it the fire department, it's sanitation. I mean, to me, their job is just as important. It might not be as dangerous, but then again, it is.
But where are we, exactly?
Yeah, Huntsville might pay $25 an hour, and the cost of living there is higher. So, if you can commute, that's a bonus, but not everybody's gonna commute, so. I think we have to just find that balance.
Right.
in there.
Right.
We have to balance here on this board. Everybody deserves more than what they're getting. I can
I
tell you
agree,
that.
but then when you got some of
you
your
gotta
top heads
figure out
making.
where to get it from.
Right, and I agree, and I'm not
And if you're
just
gonna
saying
go to
that.
property taxes, like what we're talking about here, we're jumping.
We jumped a long way on some of these the directors too, and stuff, the chiefs and the thing. I'm not saying that their job is not important, but these guys in here at the bottom of the thing, their job is just as important as these people, the chiefs and the assistant chiefs.
Absolutely.
But what I'm saying is, a lot of these positions here, when you're making over $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year, and you got these guys here making $30,000 and $40,000 a year, there's a big problem, because I know these guys are
Sure
here,
is.
come out at 12 and 1 o'clock in the morning. Sanitation workers come out very
Sure
early,
is.
but their top heads come out if they want to come
Same
out.
thing with nurses.
Absolutely.
Trust me.
And it's just, it's
Same
not
thing
fair.
with EMT.
I agree.
Same thing.
But what
Where
I'm
you
saying
are
is,
and where
there's
people
got-
left
right.
We
We leave the bottom off all the
where
time.
they left to go somewhere and make what they're making happen right in the department you're at. So I'm just saying we need to be, that we need to look at it all.
There needs to be a balance with
Yeah.
everything. I
And
agree.
that's hard to do. But we need to keep that in mind.
But that's why we're losing these positions.
And the nature of the beast is this, it will turn over. And I'm through speaking
Well,
now.
looking at the pay scale, here's where, I can't make this add up, I'm sorry. Look at the pay scale on a firefighter, the very lowest pay coming in on the pay scale, at the very top is $12.42, and that's for 2 weeks. $12.42 for 80 hours. So a firefighter, the pay scale is saying that we're paying them $15.53 coming in, right up here on the pay scale. But we're not, we're paying them $12.67.
Let's have a question.
Really. Somehow or another, my mind can't bring it together. If the pay scale says, hey, Mr. and Ms. Firefighter, we're gonna hire you in at $15.53 an hour, and then of course it goes up from right there. But then they come to work and they make $12.68 an hour. My mind don't compute that.
I'm not sure which.
He's talking about comp time and stuff like that. It's not that showing.
We had we
I think this is how the scales are really made. So when you look at the scale and you're referring to $15 an hour, they're basing it on the 80 hours. So
That's right.
they put it in general that
right.
everybody's working 80 hours, but in reality, the fire department is working 106 hours, but they base their salaries on the 80 hours. That's the difference.
I understand that, but they're putting in that 106 hours
benefits.
in order to probably get this amount.
That's
Why are they putting in 106 hours and everybody else is putting 80 hours in?
Yeah, that's what we need to
Because that's how the
understand here.
schedules fall.
This,
That's how a
that's what we
24/48
need to
schedule will
understand
fall.
here.
Well, I know they're doing that.
These are
But I'm curious, when they're
Just
hired
give us
in, are they
one.
told they're making
Take this
15 something an hour, or are they told they're
Okay,
making
off the top
12
of
something
your
an
head,
hour?
give a good
Well, they
guess
told
what
them
I'm just
they-
they
curious.
would be.
It would be the annual. I mean, they know what they're gonna make on the annual.
Okay, that'll be fine, because we just need to understand that, because that makes a difference in what we're paying.
But they're showing their annual salary, their yearly.
Bi-weekly pay
Correct.
for firefighters is
We're all-
what that bi-weekly rate is. It doesn't have an hourly rate.
Okay, but on the
They
pay
don't have
scale,
an hourly rate for firefighters or an hourly rate for police officers. And because they all work different numbers of hours.
So they have to work that 106 hours to get
It's the same
paid.
as another employee, 80 hours.
That ain't fair.
So they really need, I mean, I
Okay.
would propose they have a different pay scale.
yeah, I think they
You
should
remember,
have it all
Danny, when
along.
they changed that scale so that, you remember the discrepancy that they had in the fire department about 4 years ago, I think? And a bunch of firemen were underpaid, and they went back and the city had to rectify that and give that. That's when they went to this other hourly scale to base that on, because whoever or wherever that got calculated back then caused the discrepancy. So then that's when they changed it. The hours, however they figure it up, it ended up like that. We also are looking at base salaries here. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to cut anybody's throat. I'm just trying to get us to understand where we're going and how we're going to get there. 1268 is a base salary, and she's looking now to figure in some benefits on that. So it may end up $16.68 an hour.
Oh, yeah, but if you're paying them 15 something an hour like everybody else is making over here, their benefits is gonna be even higher.
Yeah, but they don't have.
They're gonna get the same
They don't have
benefits.
City of Fayetteville's benefits.
Well, bottom line is,
Great
any
benefits.
any way we look at it, we're hiring firemen in at $12.68 an hour.
Base,
That's bottom line.
base.
That's what we're doing. We're
Yeah.
hiring firemen in at $12.68 an hour. We're hiring everybody else in at $15, $16, $17 an hour.
And actually, some of these.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, and some of these actually have, if they receive their certifications for like a firefighter one, there's additional compensation for different certifications.
I'm good with all that.
Yes, but
I'm good with that.
some of these these are not, the ones that you're looking at are not even the base salaries of this, because they've already received some of that compensation. So I just wanted to let you know, you're looking at, if we're looking at 1268, that's not even the base, because they've already reached some of those certifications.
Yeah. Well,
So it's lower than that.
Yes.
it's getting worse.
How much worse? I mean, do you have an
There's
idea?
a chart.
Oh,
If we can go back, and I'm sorry, I'm switching back to a little bit. If you go to your very last sheet.
The fire department pay structure.
Yes, ma'am.
This,
Yes. Uh-huh.
okay.
So the very last one, that is your base. That's like, if you hired in and you have no training whatsoever, and you're a base off the
1172.
street, that is what you would start.
1172.
well, and this is why I'm ready to move on this, because I remember I said I was embarrassed 2 years ago. I mean, I was floored when that firefighter told me he made $12 an hour.
No, they're making 1172.
Yeah, I was embarrassed. I mean,
And then
That's
as they gain
unbelievable.
their certifications, they receive additional pay, the 50 cents for this,
so they moved up to 12.
Yes.
Well, if we're hiring firemen in at $11.72, of course they get benefits now.
Unless they come in with certifications already.
Right, well,
that may start
we're
somewhere
talking,
else, but yes.
we're talking base here, and if you hire them in as a true number of 15 something over here, they get to bump up on all that too. And they get the same benefits. The benefits is not the problem here. The problem here is what their pay is. The reason I asked Jamie, I'm the one that asked Jamie to bring this up. And I got to thinking about this, and I kept hearing some of the firemen making $12 an hour, and I'm saying that's not possible. That can't be. But it is possible.
Yes, sir.
Not only are they making 12 something an hour, 11.72 an hour to go out and a lot of people says, well, they don't do a whole lot. Well, I'm gonna tell you one thing, when they get one of them EMA medical calls, they're doing a lot. I want them at my house, and I think they're worth more than $11.72 an hour when they get there. Or if my house is on fire, I think they're worth more than $11.72 an hour coming in there and trying to get people out.
But that's the one without training. They don't
Well, it doesn't
have any-
matter.
They don't have any first responder.
It doesn't matter. Hiring anyone in to do a fireman's job, that they have to have the training. We know they have to have the training. We pay them extra for the training and all. But we hire them in at less than $12 an hour? It's not right. We're making those firemen work 106 hours to get what any other department is working basically 80 hours to get. That's the bottom line. Go to any other department, say, hey guys, y'all got to work, men and women, y'all got to work 106 hours to get what you've been getting working 80, but you ain't gonna get no more pay. See what happens.
What was the police pay by hourly? Because that wasn't in here at all.
We're not there yet, but anyway.
But there's not a chart for them.
Yeah,
I just want to skip
pull
over
that.
it.
And
Please,
remember,
but-
we're not trying to cut anybody's.
Right, I just want to see the hourly for
Reach
them,
a
because
balance.
I think all safety,
As to
is
what we
all
can
we
give
want.
and where we're gonna get
Right.
it from.
The police is level 4. Fire department's level 5, level 3. They're different levels.
right, I'm just looking for something like we got here with the fire department. For the police
I
department.
did not pull the same information for the police department, but I can back into some of that for you. The police departments are basically starting at a level 4, so they're starting at a higher beginning level than the fire department is.
Even with no training?
They starting at 1377 divided by 80, whatever that is.
Yeah.
1377
They
divided by
started
80,
as a 4-1,
you know.
so,
That's a bi-weekly.
1377 divided by 80.
You got it.
1721.
That's what they're starting at right there.
1720.
And that's with no experience?
That's right.
That's with nothing.
They're 171 hours every
Right.
4 weeks instead of
Yeah.
160.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying their job is any different, but safety is safety for both sides, fire and police.
yeah, I just know that their employees, by looking at the file, they start in at a level higher than a patrolman starts in a level higher than a fireman
They
does.
do, one level higher.
Yes.
Well, I'm not trying to compare and get one on, the levels
No,
is
I
whatever you decide. What I'm hung up on is working these individuals 106 hours and paying them $11 or $12 an hour. When you should be getting the 15-something that we say we're paying them when we hire them. So well, that's what that sheet right there says. Something's not right. No, we're not treating, to me, we're not treating them right. I've heard of this for several years now, and nobody just ever really dug into it. Maybe it's time that we dig into some things.
Yeah, I thought it was being fixed a couple of years ago.
We tried.
I really did.
Well, something has happened because when we had the big discussion, right after we came on the board, the firemen, we had to pay out a lot of money.
Exactly.
And once we paid that out, we were guaranteed that that's gonna put them on the scale where they,
Then how did we
Didn't
go
do
down?
it. It didn't do it though.
I know, but that's what we were told.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
thought it was
how we
fixed.
voted.
Then where did we lose it? Where did it get lost in? Then?
I don't know. This is where we at right here.
Right.
This is where we are right
Before
here.
you got here.
No, I was trying to figure out where was the money paid out to? Was it paid out for equipment or?
To the employees.
To the
the employees.
employees.
Okay.
Because we
They
were
all got a
shortcutting, we were
check.
all
And that was
shortcutting.
probably when they were calculating whether they
It had to
got
do with-
paid their
right.
overtime correctly in the
Exactly.
calculation.
I think that was a
Because
federal
That
deal.
was a big
Yeah.
thing.
Well,
All
it
the
sure was.
cities
When they
through
went back and
the
dug
same
it up, it was federal.
That's a federal deal.
It had to be.
But we had to pay for it out of the money.
Oh, yeah.
And we also at that time talked about this $12 an hour, and we thought the scale was gonna be
Yes.
redone.
Because that's what we.
And I was under the impression it was. but
And that's the reason I keep going back
Even
with the
from
police
year
and
to
fire.
year, you got-
They put on a shield to go with, they don't, I think a fire is no different than a bullet. They go in a house and catch on fire, you can take a shot.
Exactly.
I think this is a joke that the firemen are getting paid this in this city. And
I
I
don't
would,
disagree with that. I just don't want them to be paid no $11 an hour.
that's what I'm saying. And we-
I want to pay them the 15-something we owe them, so I want to pay.
The proposal on the pay structure that we just looked at, the second square you have is a proposal that, I've kind of worked with.
Proposed by the fire department. You're looking-
Correct.
Okay.
Chief Kimbrough has kind of worked with building this, and that is something that he thinks would be comparison to some of the cities around us, and he feels kind of comfortable with.
Right there.
I don't know what I'm looking at. Okay.
Yeah, that's it right there.
So basically,
Proposed,
that would be the change, dollar change annually is to the right, and then the percentage change is there for you as well.
Okay, if you add, I don't know if we'd do this or not, but, so the annual, let's see, the difference bi-weekly, what we would have to do, oh, you've got to change already.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Yeah, you've got to change.
The percentages are there, right?
Right.
You got to change. Is those numbers, is that for the whole year, those numbers?
That's an annual change, yes.
That's an
So
annual?
basically, what he's proposing is you take the base and start out at $15 an hour. And you're going from the $11.72 to 15, which is $3.28, I believe, if I have my math right. So you take that same change in the base and you add that change through the whole pay structure, and then that's how it's built.
Have you totaled that up?
Have I told you
It's
that?
about $52,000,
This right here is
the annual change.
52,000.
Say if you say 10, 20, 30, 40,
Yeah, no, that's per employee.
That's
So-
just salary.
Just one position per category.
Yes, so
Yeah.
it's roughly,
more than 50,
Yeah,
that's
but
what she's
they
saying.
get the benefits either way though.
it's under 200,000 for the year. I think it, hold on, let me see if I remember.
Yeah, this is just for 1, 2, 3,
And
4,
of course,
5,
that
6
is
employees.
strictly salary only,
Right.
but I do have that in one of my files.
So you think it's somewhere around 200,000 a year? Little less.
Base.
That's not FICA,
None of
and that,
You're right.
and that's
Yes.
another 25%.
I have it in one of my files, and I apologize. I have a lot of files open, so.
It's only about 8 or 9 cents on property tax. Probably. Or is that, I don't know, but I wouldn't do it. No, I wouldn't do it.
Well, it's about 10 cents if it's 200,000, and plus
10 cents?
whatever.
Yeah, 10 cents, but if it's less than that, it may be 8 or 9 cents.
Yeah, but you still have to add the
You
benefits
don't have your
in.
benefits in there.
Well, they're
So
gonna
would
get
that
the-
bring it around
They're gonna get
250?
the benefits either way. No,
Yeah,
so
but
we're
the
making-
benefits.
But the benefits
Go ahead.
change as this
Right.
goes,
It would
because
be
you're
more
paying a
than-
percentage,
Okay.
You have to add it right.
like your FICA is 0.7.
Can you come up with some kind of a total on what that plan would be?
Sure.
Yeah, or something similar to that?
Okay.
Come up with some kind of total with the, whatever the percentage is they're talking about.
So using the proposed pay structure with our current employees, get what a fully burdened cost would be.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then divide,
And then get it per penny.
yeah, per penny.
Okay.
21, was it
Absolutely.
21,400, something like that? $21,400, I believe, is a penny. So we talking about right around 10 cents.
All over Tennessee.
And he got comps around the county too, right? Around surrounding counties, that's why I was talking about the police. I think the chief,
I can ask and
ask
see
the
which
chief
ones
of the
he
police
wants.
department too, to get the same structure that he got, to give us comp. I want to see what the counties that he got, if, you know, he brought all this up to the table with us. There's nothing here with the police department.
No,
That's what-
sir.
I would like to see the same for surrounding
You want
counties,
the
exactly
same
what he got as
structure
well.
With
Yes,
same
ma'am.
kind of a,
I would like to see that. I'd like to see what they're getting, because we're losing police officers just like we're losing fire.
and we are as well with
like we
Public
need
Works.
more.
I mean,
Everybody.
Yeah, that's exactly right, but, you know, a while ago we said that we can't compare counties to Murfreesboro. We don't need to be going to Murfreesboro. I'm saying, he got these, like, I'm sure he got Giles County, Franklin County, you know, Moore County. I would like to see the same as the police department as well.
because your top three, which are your biggest departments, were police, fire, and public works, and they were all three basically right there at 8 employees for the last year.
Okay. Good
So
work.
if we could get, then go ahead and do public works, if you're gonna do all of them. I mean,
Exactly.
I would do those three. If that's where you've got your biggest loss and consistent loss,
It's a revolving door.
I would say just look at all three departments.
We got lost on all of them.
Yes,
All of them.
we do have.
But
we have
she said these were the three biggest.
Those are the largest.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
turnover in every department, but those are
Yeah.
your highest turnover. Those are the ones with the highest turnover rates.
We lost a garbage truck employee last week, don't have to. I don't know how they run the truck.
And I'm not gonna ask you to do this, but I'd be curious to know what it costs us every time we lose an employee. I mean, it costs us money every time we hire one, train them, and then
Absolutely.
lose them somewhere else, and then we have to do it all over again.
And that number has been given since I've been here, so we have to be mindful of, Jamie reported 23 employees that were lost, and that has cost the city probably, when you look at 23, probably up to 70s, 80,000 to retrain and replace.
Yeah.
And that doesn't include the history that you lose every time you lose an employee. I mean, that's irreplaceable.
Well, if we get the salaries better, it'll help. It won't stop all of it. It won't stop all of it. This younger generation, they won't stop all
Generations
of
we're
it.
dealing with.
This
you
younger
can count them. They
generation,
work about 2 years and they're gone.
they'll still do it, but it might help. And my main concern right now, especially that firemen making $11 an hour, $11.72 an hour coming in, going in fighting fires and having to pay people's lives on the, whatever they do. I hope I never need them, but
Well, I don't know how anybody could live on that.
But we've been talking about this for 2 years.
I mean, I don't know how you can buy
4 years.
groceries on that. So,
You do that, it's-
Well, we've been talking about it for 2 years, and
Nothing's getting done.
we're fixing it now, so we're gonna fix it. We need to fix it. And I agree with everybody that the fire department and the police department and public works needs to have a steady raise on what they're doing for not only us, but the community. And like Mr. Bryant said, it's not a question of if, it's just when. It will happen. It will happen.
Well, recreation and public works is hand in hand. Recreation makes the same salaries as public works, basically. So if you do that, it's gonna take care of them too.
Yeah.
So we
Yes, sir.
have a salary survey that HR, Miss Pam and Ashley have worked on, and Mr. Owens has worked on citywide, that shows.
But if you
Information.
look at that survey, and I got it carried home 3 or 4 days, and you look at it close, it scares you to death.
It does.
Where we're at compared to, and I only compared small cities. I didn't look at the big ones. I compared to small
We
ones.
compared it to small cities.
And when you look at that, and you look at where we're at compared to small cities, it's scary.
And
It's
it will
real
show
scary.
you per position, I mean, I have it in a file, and it will show you per position, how we compare to those small cities and kind of which positions need, the most attention, I guess you can say, compared to what our surrounding cities are, so that we could focus on those positions. And you can see just what we're talking about right here
Yeah.
and any other areas in the city.
I kept it 2 or 3 days and brought it back. It's discouraging. I didn't want to look at it no more.
Well, they were
Well, it's real.
Yeah, it's real.
I mean, it's not, and I think that it does need a personal touch to it, because it's the median. It's just, we're comparing to the median of where it's at, so not everyone would need to go up to the median number. So we would have to do some massaging of where, but we would have something to start with. We could use the median and back into a minimum number, and then build back up to a maximum number, and then kind of see where we would need to. So if we needed to adjust our existing scales, we could have this survey to build up to. That would give us something that's realistic compared to
But
where we're at.
you're going to have to do that in a hurry because the budget, if we have a tax increase, it needs to be, we need to have it ready for when we do the budget.
Yes.
Right.
Once we could do, if we would have approval to do that, then we would need the board's approval to see how much or where we could shift and put people where they would.
How long would it take you to do that?
To do
that
this-
study?
The study's already
I
done.
mean, how long would it take you to bring all that information together to where we can understand it?
We're,
We have an 8:30 Monday morning meeting to start talking. Well, we started this week, but just to look at several scenarios based on where the board want to be. So we have a meeting 8:30 to 10 already scheduled to start
Okay.
looking at that.
So it's not like it's going to take a long time.
no, I mean, we already have the per position ready. We have the actuals where we're at. We have the study that shows us where we should be. Like I said, we will need to kind of massage it. If you've just come in, you may need to be on the lower end of the new scale, but it's very doable.
Do you kind of plug benefits into that?
This would be a base.
A base, okay.
Base, but this base will take the place of the existing pay scale.
Okay. Well, we're going to have, people's going to continue to leave, and we can't stop that. The thing about it is, if they leave on their own because of whatever, that they just leave. If they leave because we're really not stepping up and paying them a decent salary, if that's the reason, it's on us. It's on us, the way I look at it.
how often do other cities review this? I mean, is this something we need to start reviewing every year or 2 years? Because I think we've just dug ourselves in a
I've
hole
only
because we
been in
haven't
one
addressed it for
place.
so long.
And for where I was, it was something that we struggled with too,
Yeah.
as things changed and, it got to a point where it was fast changing. And of course, they're probably going through the same thing that we're going through now. And where I was, for a few years, we put a Band-Aid on it because we couldn't afford to face it.
That's what you do.
And then,
Right.
we did what we're doing now. We did a survey and we tried to tackle it as much as we
This would be
could.
good right here, thanks.
But I think it would be good for us to at least do a survey to see, once we got where we needed to be, or knew where we were, to make sure we're not falling off the wagon, make sure we're still close.
Yeah.
Once we get where we're.
I just want to do something to not, I just want to do something to fix this farmer situation, and it ain't right, them.
Well, the study shows, you can see when you look at the study, I
Okay.
mean, the ones that we're talking about, you can see in the study,
Okay,
they.
so y'all can come back, y'all can come back with us, something we can, coherent that we can put together, kind of.
Okay.
Is that where we at?
Yes, sir.
And I would think probably reviewing every 3 years, because I was in a strategic planning this weekend, and 5 years is totally out of even a suggestion, because things change so rapidly, prices are going up, the economy that we live in now. You know, if you do it anything after 5, you're so far behind.
Yeah.
So a 3-year and a 3-year strategic, that's kind of the best scenario. So, but I did look at that. We only had a few employees, very few employees, that made at or above what the median was, and that's sad.
Very few. I
So,
would count on, what, 2 hands?
yeah, if that many. So,
So I have, follow-ups to prepare a police structure as we have the fire
I want to see
structure.
that, please.
And then prepare the citywide structure with some proposals to bring back to the board. Is that correct?
Yeah, and really, if we do that and look at all these different steps we're talking about looking at, I don't know, is it, want to look at the steps or not, we're wasting our time. We're just wasting on all these steps that you prepared for us. I appreciate it, because it kind of goes back to my idea, I guess, but in looking at the broad situation, I don't know, we need to consider the step levels right now.
Yeah.
We need to just set them aside and see where we're going to end up at,
based on the
based on
study.
whatever y'all come back with, because there's not anything we do on those steps right now. Everything's too muddled. So, and that might save some time instead of going through all that tonight. We'd be wasting our time going through these steps.
Well, one thing, with doing the pay study proposal, if we could get where the board might be comfortable for us going with the existing employees, that would give us a better direction on what to propose. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
I mean, I don't know kind of, what percentage we would like to put towards payroll, or,
We won't know that till you come back with some numbers. Once you come back with some numbers on, we need to do this on payroll, then we just need to look at what the bottom line dollar is, what's that gonna cost, and then those percentages you've got will change, no doubt. They're gonna change. You know what I'm talking about? It might not be 45%, it might be 30, it might be 50.
well,
We don't
if we
know.
did what the payrolls, what it showed us on the median, it's much larger than the numbers that were proposed to the board before.
Okay.
So,
Just bring it back. We gotta know where we at. Because I don't know where we at right now with all this things we're talking about right here.
Could you take your median study, give us what that total is? If you brought everybody up to their suggested salary, and we know we can't do that,
yes.
at least we know what the top is, and then back it off a little bit, to
In
get it in percentages.
I mean, we could start with the median and then build our same structure, our same 12 steps. And if someone was on a level, I don't know, 452 or 453, with that new pay scale based on the median structure, put them back to a 4-3, and then whatever that number is, and then calculate what that is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Well, would
I think
that-
we
would
can come
that-
up with something.
so you'll be able to put that together.
Yeah.
But in putting that together, you'll be able to put some numbers together to take care of this 106-hour business on the fire department.
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right,
Yeah, we already have a proposal with the fire department.
okay, all right.
I think so.
At least so we'll know where we are, we know where we can go, or where we think we can go. Because right now, we have no idea to put us on the median. We have no idea what that bottom line number is.
So would it be fair to say we're gonna do a scenario and then possibly do an alternative scenario, or you just want one basic on what we all come up with?
You'll need to come
I
up with
think too,
alternatives.
yeah.
Because
Yeah, we need alternatives.
we got a big shovel, we're digging a hole right now.
Okay.
Matter of fact, we're digging with a backhoe.
Uncle Boom.
That's it, yeah. Whatever the biggest scoop we can take is what we're digging for, that's for sure.
We will have,
But we need to see all of that.
we will
And just go ahead on those numbers, just go ahead and throw it out there. And if you have to have a tax increase, what's it gonna take to cover it?
we will do that.
Have it there to look at.
Okay.
$21,400 per penny, whatever it is, so,
Okay.
all right.
We will do that. Okay. I moved my things around, I apologize. Okay, I think the next one would be the rec center concessions. This one was one that was discussed on, I think Ms. Tanya mentioned it, not having anything in the budget for, the concessions for the ball fields. So I spoke with Mr. Carter about that. They are gonna use the food trucks at the ballparks. However, he would like to try to add a little bit more back into there to use the concession stands in conjunction with the food trucks. So these are new numbers that he has provided me. So the one on the left is the actual products that he would need to do that.
That's fine, we can watch that.
I know, I was like, what were we getting ready to watch?
Top Gun.
Cut that one on, please.
We'll lose everybody.
I was asleep and it just defaulted back to that.
So, you have your cost, your unit, so if it's chips, it's 50 per unit. And then the cost, we would charge $1 for those, your revenue would be $50, and then your net, of course, is the difference between what you pay and what your revenue is gonna be. So your first line at the bottom would be if we bought one of those, and he's requesting that we buy 2 of everything, so all the way across the $779.46 is how much we would make if we sold everything that he's requesting to buy.
And this is just for the ball field, not the pool?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, because the pool was already built in, so
Okay.
I wouldn't have to change anything for the pool.
Okay.
So if it's okay with everyone, I will build this in. So I will have to add expenses to purchase these, and then I'll also build in the revenue to offset this as well, because this is currently not in there.
And the food, you mentioned about the food truck, we're not making nothing on the food trucks, they're not gonna pay for the setup or nothing, so.
Well, and two, one thing, when kids are out there, if a food truck doesn't show up, we need to have drinks and stuff for them to purchase. You
Just
know what
like
I mean?
snacks or whatever,
Yeah.
you know.
If there's nobody else there, they need to be able to get
Right.
something like that.
And then to the right, this is the cost of just having labor for the concessions from May 7th to June 4th. So it's $675, and that will have to be added to the budget. So if everyone's okay, I will make those changes.
Would this not just be a line item of supplies, or?
The left will be supplies and revenue, and then the right's labor. Okay, The next sheet you have is tourism, the running balance in the tourism account. I've updated this through the month of March. So, this shows a balance of $270,136.31. And again, kind of like we talked about, if we use this, it would be a reduction of the fund balance because it's actually in the general fund's cash. So if we decide, I know that it was discussed to use some of this for tourism, so I would just recognize that as a line so that we can kind of see that. But it shows 270,000 kind of in there. And I know that it was requested for us to come up with a new program. So we have, or not a new program, but new ideas for tourism. So we're very excited that we've come up with something.
I bet you are.
I say we, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to share it with you because
Okay.
our team did it. Zach helped us with us. I don't know where Zach went, if he's still back there. Zach and Christy and Lucas and Jack worked really hard on getting numbers and everything really quick. I think it's something that will help the community really good. There's speakers, and Lucas sent me some information. They are outdoor speakers that would tie into the poles that we already have. So,
Now, where would that be?
Sorry?
Where would that be?
Where would they be?
Yeah.
Around the square.
Around
So
the
we
square.
could do it in different phases.
Okay.
The first ones that we're proposing to do would be purchasing a set of 12. So that would be 3 per side. They could go ahead and tie into the existing poles that we have. There would have to be no underground wiring. They could still fit into the poles like we have, even with the wreaths that we hang at Christmas time. I'm sorry, I want to pull up he worked really hard on giving me some information, so I don't want to not show it to you. And I'm trying to think of everything that he told me.
I know it was easier to control. That caught my attention because they did a little scenario, and it would be easier. For example, when we had the MLK, it would be easier. It won't be as much set up, and they can do a couple little things, and everything would be automatic. So it was just really not only better sound, but also better technology where not as much setup that will be required.
Yes, so if they have an event on the square, this is something that they could use a microphone and tie into these automatically. So can you?
It's been going.
He's stepping out. Zach. Yeah, I'll send a message.
I think I'm gonna.
Well, I know like the Slaughburger and MLK, if you're not standing there facing the direction of the
Right.
speaker, you hear nothing.
Right. So with
So,
these, you will not have that problem because we would have them on every side of the square. If one of them went out, it would send a signal to the main box so that we would know that that one has been out. However, they would all not go out. Zach,
We're fixing to watch Top Gun again.
I'm talking about the speakers. You need to help me turn. Fix it. Here we go. Okay. So here's the first part of kind of what they would look like. Now, the technical, Zach would have to talk about it, but I'm just going to kind of go through the fun stuff. They have been in cities such as Savannah. Where are some other places?
Athens says when I always
Athens
look
has
at
them.
places that are close, and they did say Athens, Alabama.
So here's a whole list of cities and things that they've used before. Can you see?
Not without my glasses.
One thing that we thought, this is the only part that I contributed in. There would be a controller, which is not the word for it. What's the box called?
Soundboard?
Which one?
The one that we could loan out and buy two of.
Oh, yeah, a mobile,
Mash or something?
it'd be a mobile device they can plug a microphone into, and they can walk around the square area, and their voice would be bumped through those speakers.
So you could be anywhere at any event if you wanted to. The Cruise In, the Host a Christmas Past, any of those that you wanted to. So if you were doing a drawing or if you were here at the gazebo, anywhere you would be, they could still see or hear you all the way around the square. So one thing that I thought about maybe is that we could have one for the city's use, and then maybe we could get one that we could, I wouldn't say loan out, but rent out. So possibly to different people that wanted to have events on the square, so that we could have one for public use, and then we could have one that the city could use internally if we wanted to. But this would provide any kind of activity or sound system that we would need for any event. And two, that we could use this and start using it for the parks. So we could add on to this, so use this as phase one. And then at Stonebridge Park, add a little bit more and use that for phase two. But 12 of those would be for phase one. The cost, is the cost in here? Did he give it to me?
Do you have a question?
No, I'm sure Carl's gonna say a lot.
Oh.
Go ahead, that's one.
Oh. They are weatherproof, so they can be outside, of course.
Is there an annual fee to keep these up too, Zach?
No, we own them.
25,100.
To maintain them or
That was a
something?
previous quote made for, it was a town in Wisconsin in 2019. We got on the phone
It's
with
now
them.
35 more.
Yeah, 40.
I believe these were, for this quote, they were quoted at $1,900 per assembled. Each one is 2 speakers, and it was $1,900. Now they're $2,000 per. And I believe it's going to be like $28,500, somewhere in that area.
I mean, it would be nice if the county would join in and pay for it, because they have events just like we do. I mean, and I know what's gonna happen. They're gonna use, if we have them, they're gonna use them.
Well, that's where the extra
Yeah.
cost.
And we actually talked about that to see whether, in our meeting.
It would be nice if they wanted to join, because they usually, for both of us.
I mean, we could use it for any events.
Exactly.
Would it be specifically for events, or could you say like at nighttime, like music playing or something?
You could use it for anything.
Okay.
And one thing I was thinking about, even if we had bad weather or there are people out, you know, you can use it for announcements or any kind of public announcements that you wanted. If you had events that were coming up that you just wanted to sound off, any kind of public information that you wanted to do. It doesn't have to be during the event. It could be anything. I mean, we do things like bad weather's coming in. If you had a storm that was coming in that you just wanted to, you know, to send out for on a rotation, there you can put them on a timer as well, right? So if we wanted to put something on there, say we wanted it to play at 2 o'clock and something's going to happen on the square at 5 o'clock or whatever, we could put it on there and it would just play. And I mean, there's all kinds of things that we can do with it.
And I'm guessing they're Bluetooth too, correct?
It's a 900 megahertz radio signal.
Okay.
So it wouldn't, that was one thing I was worried about if we were doing a Bluetooth cruise, like
All right.
if someone knows how.
If
to
somebody could
sync
hack into it.
Yeah.
That's where I was getting at.
Yeah.
It will happen.
And just have guidelines, you know, who could use it, how you're gonna rent it out, and how you can, yeah. Because you don't want some bad messages to get out,
No,
or,
it would be regulated by
It would be
IT
controlled
in-house.
by PC in the building,
Right.
transmitter on the outside of the building. There would be no way to really take over the
Gotcha.
signal.
And we could put the main transmitter right outside, you know, on the first, there's a pole right outside the city hall here. And we thought that since they were about to redo the sidewalks, this would be a really good addition to the sidewalk project.
Well, I like it because it's like a capital expense. It's not reoccurring.
Right.
It's
a
one time.
I mean, it's a one-time.
And some of this other stuff we're doing is every single year we're doing. So this is a one-time thing and you're done and move on and
And they
How
had a
much we got?
warranty, what, 5 years?
5-year warranty. And we got $270,000 sitting there doing nothing, right?
It's in tourism, but it will come out of the general fund balance.
Doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, I know it'll come out of the general fund. Might drop your numbers a little there, but the bottom line is we can't use this for nothing else but tourism. All we can use this tourism funding for is tourism. So even though it might drop some out of your fund balance, I don't see that's an issue.
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
He mentioned that the only thing we need to look out for is, I mentioned it runs on the 900 megahertz radio signal. The only, a common device that also runs on that radio spectrum is electronic meter readers. So I might need to get with FDU and see, do they have a bunch of those? And that might cause interference. So as long as we're okay with that, we shouldn't have any problems.
Yeah. Well, they got a bunch of them. Well, they did.
But I don't think they do on the square, on the
They're doing a lot of
sidewalks.
remote stuff now instead of using them anyway, so I don't know where they're at on that. They used to use them, but now they're doing a lot of remote reading, and I don't even know if they're using them anymore or not. I think it's a good idea.
I think it's good.
Christmas time, you can play Christmas music, spirits with spirits,
Yeah.
spooky music, you know, fun. It'd be
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, if we had a walk or something at Halloween, you could play.
That would be so
Yeah.
cool.
We do, we have Spirit with Spirits.
Good
We have the
idea.
Chocolate Walk, we have our Main Street.
And you could set that up to play when you're not here and in
Right.
when you're not
And you can put
here.
it on, we could, it did say put it on the timer, right?
I think we
Yeah, that's
went
good.
over, there was one where it had like the zones.
Schedule.
And then there was times that you could put
Right.
in for each, for separate speaker. You have one speaker call at a certain time, different from another speaker.
Zach, let me ask you this too. Is there any way like if our local radio station could tap into it?
Yes.
And it could, so I mean, you could throw like a Tennessee Vol football party up on the square or something and have
Right.
the radio.
If like they have an internet radio, or we can access their station via over the internet,
Yeah.
then I could just pull that up on the computer I have this attached to. And boom.
Yeah, because they did mention that one. when we talked.
That's cool.
Good idea. What else you
Very
got?
good.
What else you
I
got?
know you got
Show
some more
mine.
now. What else you got on your list?
Well, we were kind of excited about this one, so.
Okay. I think you sold this one pretty good. What else you
Well,
got?
they will be proud. I think that was all.
That's all?
This one took us, you know,
Now you just want to
They just had a short time. They just had a short
Yeah,
You're
time.
going to ease into it.
yeah,
Looks like to me that'd be a good deal at Stonebridge Park too.
right. I mean, that could be our second phase, unless we wanted to go ahead and,
If that's what you want to make it.
Keep on doing it.
yeah.
He's wishing you'd put Stonebridge Park in that too.
I was wishing we'd just go ahead and do Stonebridge Park. Well, I was wishing. But that's just me.
No, boss. Two of them at once.
They're the whole town.
I mean, if you got $270,000 sitting there and you're not, well, you're gonna use some of that on other stuff. Bottom line is, the whole idea for this tourism fund is, we can't use it for nothing
I'm just
else.
doing this, y'all forge ahead.
But that
Well,
fishing rodeo
isn't some of
was
this
nice.
gonna go on
Yeah.
outside agencies?
That'd be cool. Could do it.
Yeah, yeah,
The
Before we get
tourism,
through,
yeah.
there
little bit
is
less, how much less for
some that
outside
we
agencies?
will recommend to move back to tourism.
I saw that on your notes.
So that'll take care of it a little bit more. Then we'll decide.
Well, you know, you kind of open the door, you're gonna try to go through it.
I know.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea though.
And the banners. Y'all just say whenever you're ready for dinner, so.
Is it here?
Y'all give us about 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
5 minutes, we can finish up tourism, and I think
Let's
this
finish
will
it.
be everything that we had from before, and then we can start with capital when we get back.
Okay.
Okay. For tourism, there were a couple of items that we met and would recommend to take back to tourism. I'm sorry, hold on just one second, let me get my boundaries. It's gonna be under your other general government tab.
Is it in the book?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
What did you say it was on here?
Other general government. It's kind of like almost halfway, a bit towards the
Okay.
front.
There, I see it now.
Must be tourism. What's it close to? Oh, there it is. I
Is
got
it
it.
here
Municipal
Genesis or
building.
Exodus?
Yeah.
Where's it downstairs? I don't even know where it's at.
It's right after municipal building, right after information technology, elections.
I think that's probably me, because every time I lean against this, it gives Zach a fit. Yeah, when I lean forward, it scratches.
Don't
and I
lean back in
should
that
step-
chair, it'll fall.
Yeah, I should step back a little bit.
Did we get that in the book? Did we get the chairs in the book?
This
Nah,
thing,
we didn't
every
get
time I
them.
hit it.
All under tourism.
I know, there we go.
No, Tanya.
That's me.
So,
Okay, that's me.
I done aggravated her about them chairs enough.
I think that's tourism.
Some of these I had kind of proposed to bring everything all to one place. However, after our discussions, I think there were some that we probably need to pull back to tourism. So those would be, and you can let me know if you disagree or if I miss anything. The Chamber of Commerce Tourism, which is 722B, for $14,000 is the proposed amount now, and we will need to come back to the nonprofits and do any adjustments to these figures that if we need to before the budget is completed. So the Chamber of Commerce Tourism is one that we recommend to take back to the tourism account. The Chamber of Commerce Host of Christmas Pass for $2,000, that's 722C. The Main Street for $10,000, which is 730B for the $10,000, take that back. Tennessee Back Roads for $2,000 is kind of towards the bottom. And what that is, if you're not familiar with it, is the pamphlet, and it goes through all of the counties. That's definitely a tourism guide, so I'd recommend taking that one back to the tourism account.
Say that one.
And I believe that would be the only ones unless someone else has something that
737.
they think that we should pull back.
Looks good to me.
Okay, so on this Christmas parade,
Christmas parade, yes. That one we actually put to the rec center.
Yeah.
I just thought we had talked about that at one time about being a tourist, but,
Being in tourism.
because a lot of people come up here for that parade, but that's okay.
We talked about moving that festival back to tourism.
And we talked
That
about
big
that at
one.
the staff
We did.
level too. We were thinking that right now it wasn't bringing in as much of outside as it is just inside the city, but as we grow it, and making it
Yeah.
a,
So you decided it's not a good idea to take it out of tourism?
not currently,
Okay.
Yeah, we had a long debate about that. and-
we did.
And we tried to see what would the event, based on other communities, what would make it tourism. I mean, we actually spent a little time on this one. And at the end, we couldn't really do it, but it
It's
was
kind
all
of
like,
a fence.
You couldn't show us bringing in anywhere near enough fund to go outside to justify using it for tourism.
We thought it was more of a local
Local.
event than bringing in a lot of outside people, but we wanted
Okay.
to work with the Parks
Right.
Department to grow it, and once we grow it to a certain point that we felt like it was bringing in outside our community, then we would put it into.
No, I'm good with that, I just,
Which event are you talking about?
The fire game.
Oh, okay, okay.
What about Count Blunt, because that's a state historic site, is that more tourism or local? We don't really know the visitor counts right now, but
I bet they could get us a count for the October week that they do of how many, tourists we get that. Isn't that when they do their events in October?
I guess the money that we give towards the event, maybe, yeah, I get some money towards the event, yeah.
Do you want me to move that one back to tourism?
what do y'all think about that one?
oh, yeah, I think so. I think it'd be a good idea to move it back.
Okay.
Shows up when it's almost time to eat.
I know, you show up, it's time for dinner.
Is that where we had it? And then it was moved out.
Hey, how you doing?
So you went back to Main Street, I'm going back to Main Street a while ago. You said you're always taking it out or you
Don't go,
moving it?
do we need to?
Moving the 10,000.
I think we put that in there for real.
Yeah,
Why don't
We
not
have.
We're trying to decide
vote?
what
They keep
can
it 15, why can't we vote?
and what cannot.
Because it's not all tourism. Their function is not all tourism. Just like the chamber, it's not all tourism, it's some
But
tourism.
they generate a lot of money as well, though. Right?
Yes. Mhm.
So I think that's it for the tourism part. So when we return from dinner, we'll start with the Capitol and then we'll after that.
Hey, Jeff, let's eat.
What's that?
Let's eat.
Let's see, man, I got it just in
good
time.
time.
He sits down, he's like, let's eat.
That was a wide, Elijah. Dive in.
Dreaming about Hawaii again.
Who's that? Oh,
Okay. Fund 312, which is our capital fund. The layout again is the new layout for, it'll show actuals for 22, it'll show budget for FY23, estimates for FY23, the budget proposed for FY24, and then any changes budget to budget. The top part is just for our revenues. For FY22, we received in $1,524,293. The budget for 23 is $1,941,945. For this capital, I have moved over. Well, it has the Greenway in this budget, so that's where the $1,449,945 is coming in. And then the estimated for FY23 is the $125,450, and then you have the budget for FY24. One thing for the revenues for FY24 you'll see is the debt transfer that we talked about a little bit during the last meeting. And then for those that weren't able to make the last meeting, there was a balance in the debt account or debt fund of $241,528. The debt fund is just a kind of a wash-through fund where we transfer money from the general fund to the debt fund just to pay our debt expenses. And over years, somehow that has held a balance of that $241,000. So I have contacted the auditors just to see if there's any kind of restrictions to why we would not be able to pull that money out. After checking with him, there was not. So since the city put the money over there, and it's just to pay for the city's debt, the city can pull it out. So what I've proposed is that we transfer that money and actually use that money this year, which would kind of be one-time money, is so take it from the debt transfer and put it in the capital. So we could use that to fund some of our capital for next year. Because the debt fund does not need to carry a balance. You just take it from general fund, put it into debt fund, pay out your debt. It doesn't need to hold a balance.
So chairs and speakers.
Speakers, yes, for now. So that's why that's kind of a new line for FY24. And then the line right above it, the 240,002, is what currently is being proposed to come from the general fund, transferring into capital. Then the next section is kind of a new structure as well. You'll see that this starts with the fund, which is 312, and then it has the middle section, which is your department account number, which for administration is 31580, and then the object code. So for 929, that is assigned to other building improvements. So I have structured within every department that structure so it would be consistent within department. One thing that helps us with is identifying what assets are being budgeted. It identifies how they need to be depreciated at the end of the year, and it helps us to expense those out to the right account. Because before, if you look at the bottom, it was just everything went to, say, the 900 account, or, well, basically everything went to 43750-900. And you didn't really know without going back through paperwork what that consisted of. So I've structured it so that every department has the same structure. It's consistent. The only thing that changes is the middle section, which is identified per department. And then the reason it looks kind of funny is because I've hidden anything that didn't have a budget in it for this year, just so that I can consolidate it so you didn't have to look at a bunch of zeros. But if we needed to use, say, a 931 in IT, that account does exist, so we could budget in that if we needed to. It's just it doesn't show because there's nothing in it. So you can see in that middle section, everything is rolled up per department, and these will walk through the request. And again, towards the bottom, this will show, it corresponds to the audit. So your 90,000 at the bottom, it says fund balance. The 90,307 is FY21's fund balance for your capital fund. The 457,584 is your FY22's fund balance for capital. So you take that, move it over to FY23's beginning balance, and then take out your decrease of 69,880 for your budgeted number. That takes you to 387,704. And then if you take the 457,584 and the estimated for FY23, and you take out your estimated number of 31,923, that takes you to 425,661. And then since we're taking the estimated to walk into FY24, you take the 425,661 and the proposed decrease of 264,661. That leaves you with a balance of 161,000 at the end of FY24. So that's what we're looking at as our ending balance in capital for FY24, which is really a lot lower than I would like us to be, but that's where we are to get the things that we felt like we really.
And that's adding in the extra 241, 528 up there as well.
Yes, that's with that included.
Okay. We are running low.
So the only thing to increase that number would be to, one, transfer more from the operating general fund, or two, you cut out capital to make that fund balance go back up. So you have one of those two options. So I'll go through everything that is proposed. As we go through it, what I've done for every department is they were requested to present a form for every capital request. They were requested to identify those in need in order. So they're kind of listed in order as what they requested in priority wise. If there is a line in the budget and it has a 0 or a dash, they should have a 0. But if they have a 0 or a dash, then that is something that they've requested, but we've had to back it out. So what I've done, the reason I do it that way is so that I have a history of the amount that they requested, so that if we are able to go back in and fund that request, I have a history of what the original amount was. Just so we can kind of flow through and we can kind of go back through them. The first sheet will show you capital per department. You'll see just the breakouts. The highest percentage right now looks like it's going to the fire department and then police, and we'll go through what those requests are. This is just a visual of where our capital dollars we're going to go through, what departments they will go to. The next sheet that you have, again, is on the left, you will see the capital assets per asset type. So, and I kind of built it this way so that you would have a reference if you ever wanted it. On the first sheet, it has the reference by department, so if you ever wanted to know what the fire department's number or code was, the 42, I think they're 42200. If you ever needed that for any reason, you can look there and you can find it. This one, same thing. I don't know why if you ever wanted it, this kind of gives you what we are looking for. If you ever look at a report, that you'll have, this will help you know what those are. So your 910 would be land. We have vehicles, that's 950. So if you ever hear me say 950, that's a vehicle code for us. It's called object code. It's the last 3 codes to an account. That's how we code them on GEO. So you can look over to the right, and this shows you per object code how those budgeted dollars are going. So this is citywide, so it's not broken out per department, but it's broken out on how we're spending it. So you can look at, say, 950 as our vehicles. That's that tall green, the $259,399. So you can see we're buying a lot of vehicles next year. And then we
When
have.
you're saying that, what's the breakdown of the vehicles?
Of the vehicles, they're going to be on these next sheets, and we'll go through those. So the next one is administration. I can kind of go through some of these. The first request was a front entry remodel and it's going to be kind of a joint thing for security and ADA. What we'd like to do is build a wall and kind of help control some of the traffic through the building. And then where the door is that kind of goes towards Monica's area, close that in, put a drop-down counter that will help with ADA, wheelchair accessibility, and then security, so we can, again, controlling who's going through the building.
Didn't we do this a couple years ago? It was talked about something.
Yeah, we talked about something.
Why did we not do it? I thought it was going to be done. This was when Richard was here.
Oh, yeah,
We talked about doing something.
Yeah, we didn't put it in the budget.
At the time, there's no money.
There's still no money.
She's got to figure it in. There was no money to be doing that.
No, but I was just saying, I know we discussed it. I just wondered why we stopped it.
You're right.
I wonder why we stopped
You
it.
didn't get too much, so there's no
Okay.
money to break it out.
That's what I was just wondering. I knew we discussed it. I just wondered why we didn't.
We're going to try to work in a security card system. Again, trying to focus on security, safety. A lot of our things are security, safety for our employees. You'll kind of see that as kind of a theme as we go through some of these. Security for the auditorium. Again, working on some safety things for for this area, ways that we can improve our safety throughout the building. We had some improvements on painting on the first and second level. That was taken out. The chairs for the auditorium.
Gone.
I don't even want to say that, but we do have some picked out. I've got cost estimates, things for those, so hopefully in the end we can put that back in. Second level flooring, that was something that we would like to change out and do, but that has came out. Storage building freight elevator. There's some issues with the freight elevator right now, so it's not usable. I don't think they can't use it at all right now. Is that correct?
That's
Breakers come off the supposed to.
Okay.
Is that
So
building back here?
Yeah.
The big yellow. building.
again, when we start turning things off because we can't use them anymore, that's a safety issue. So we put that in there. Senior center's parking lot. That would be a 1/3 senior citizens, county and city. That also I think is going to go towards our ADA portion as well. So that is a community type thing.
Is our portion the 30?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then there's furniture. We're going to be changing offices, and with changing the offices, there's going to be furniture that's needed for HR's office, a desk for my office, and then possibly, I don't know, we don't have any for ITs, but when we change all of that, we're going to add some for training setups and computer stuff to set up. When we bring HR, she's able to bring someone in. She can have consultations with them. She can set up just a training spot for them to come in and use the computers to do all kinds of what forms she needs to, what training she needs to have them to do, and do those setups. So that is what the last request is for administration. For IT, you've heard a little bit about the replacement already for the PCs during Zach's presentations before. So the $45,000 is what that is for. There was a request to update the phone systems, but currently the phone systems are working. They're older, but we're not really currently having an issue with them. So we put that off until if we have issues with them, we'll address it at that point. So we took that out. The auditorium sound system and microphone upgrades. We do have money in there to do something with the boxes on the side of your side of the desk up here, or to possibly put something up here, or to upgrade that and upgrade the sound system here. So
I get complaints about the sound system. They can't hear
right.
the audience.
Police station, the fire alarm system upgrade for $30,000. That's an ATT quote. Surprisingly, when we went through these, this one kind of surprised me because the fire station is so new. However, it is...
Police station.
Police station, I'm sorry, fire on my mind. Police station. And this one may be something, Mr. Owens and I have kind of talked about that one. You may actually hear this one a little bit sooner than the budget because we're scared it's actually...
We're afraid that, just based on the system, that it may be just too much of a risk to wait into next fiscal year. So we're looking at ways to see can we address it before this year closes.
It does not have the flashers. You're required to have the flashers so
But it's got
that
an audio. It don't have an audio sound to it or no?
it does not, I don't think, it doesn't have the pools. I know it doesn't have the pools. It doesn't have the flashers. There's some other things that it doesn't have right now.
Right.
It's really dated on their security. So if they had a fire on the bottom level or a second level, you would not know it at the top level.
Right. And actually, Chief Kimbrough and I talked about it. We are recently finding this out as we going through the budget. So he's sort of trying to help do some assessment on the total need.
Yeah, we're trying to determine if it's something that can wait, if it's something that needs to be addressed immediately.
And we have that.
I don't know how
Who
is,
we have?
That's what I'm saying.
when we built that building, was it not up to, I mean, was it not to code when, the fire code when the building was built?
That's the
We've
same
asked the same
question,
question.
we asked that question too,
Well, I wonder who passed it, because if it didn't,
It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
but, yeah.
That building, how old is it? I mean, how
it ain't even 10 years
I
old yet.
Yeah, close to 10.
I don't remember
It
for
was
sure.
when
It's not-
Violet and John,
Yeah, it's when they was on the.
When they were
yeah,
on the
when John
board,
Law was,
when?
So that would
We
be
were
about
really surprised when
probably 6 or 7 years ago, somewhere in that
That's
range.
the first thing I asked. So, I mean, but there's no pools by the exits, there's no light, so if someone is hearing impaired, there's not the flashing lights that you would know that there's anything wrong.
wow.
And so now we're gonna be held responsible for the price on fixing that and putting that in, when it probably should have been done years ago. Okay, all right.
So, just to let you know, we're gonna study that one a little bit more, but you may hear that one a little bit sooner than
We're in fix-up mode and catch-up mode, I think, aren't we?
unfortunately.
Story of my life.
I know it, Kevin.
I don't remember what happened during that time, but that building passed.
I don't know how it would have passed.
Whoever they passed it for, it passed.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's don't do innuendo.
They have requested for 2 vehicles, so these numbers are fully equipped for 2 Dodge Durangos. And then the evidence metal building,
Oh, we had that money already.
we've moved
I
that.
thought we bought that for the grant, that,
Opera.
yes.
With the opera money?
I thought we stuck those in there.
What, vehicles?
Yeah, 2 Durant.
They are purchasing vehicles with the ARPA money.
On
These are additional.
that funding, on the American Rescue funding, we voted, we had some funding left. So in all the work sessions and everything, it came down to, we was getting so far behind already on their replacing those Tahoes. We got 2 13 models, we got 2 14 models and 1 15 models. Well, the 13 and 14 models should have done been gone, more than likely. Tried to get them on some kind of rotation. So we decided to do that. 3 of them, we wanted 4 of us, decided to do 3 of them in order to help us get started to rotating them out. That was the reason for those 3, was to start rotating them out. So we get these 2 right here, that would mean that 5 would rotate out, because these 3 plus these 2 replaces them. And we did that because we didn't have to pay for them. I mean, that's that American Rescue funding paid for it. So that was the whole 100% purpose, was to use those 3 to help begin to rotate them out. Because if we don't start rotating those vehicles out, we're going to be in the same shape we was in with those Impalas. Can't keep them on the street because of repair. Now this, I don't know what 5 would be rotated out, but I know we've got our 5 oldest ones is 2 2013s, 2 2014s, and 1 2015. Early on, we talked about a 5-year rotation. We said we can't do that. Too quick. We can't do it. County does that, but they beat theirs up on the county roads. So anyway, we came to an idea that Richard kind of worked this out, knowing what it costs to repair and all that. Try to do them on an 8-year rotation. So it looked like to me the 2 2013s, the 2 2014s, and the 2 15s is about an 8-year rotation. In fact, on the 13s we're behind, and more than likely we're behind on the 14. So what that should do with these 5, that should put us in a position to where we can do a certain number a year to get this thing under control. I'm guessing 3.
That's what we're trying to do.
I'm guessing 3. But in order to get that on that 3-year rotation, we got to do these 5 for replacements.
We need 6, right? Because 1 was totaled out. Is that counted in here? Counted out? Was that the 3rd one?
Oh, yeah, we had to pay the difference on the insurance.
Yeah, I don't have any idea.
We're not counting the replacement
Yeah.
as a true
So
rotated replacement because.
So we need to understand and we need to know as a board that that was the purpose for this, and if these 5 vehicles goes to rotate them 5 out.
They would not be additions to the fleet. My understanding is they're not additions to the fleet.
No,
They're rotating out.
it's rotating out.
Should be rotating.
It's rotating out,
Yes.
yeah. And what this will do now, I believe it'll get us on a 3-year rotation where we can make that 3 years work. And we desperately need to get there because what happened before, you say we're playing catch up, Mayor?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we are. What happened before on those
On an 8-year
Impalas was,
rotation.
they got down in so bad a shape, which Impala was never designed for a police vehicle, no way. And they got down in so bad a shape, we couldn't keep them on the road. And we don't want to go there again. We don't want to go there again. So we're fixing, like Jacob said, we're fixing some issues from the past, hopefully getting it up to where we do it right.
Well, we had a parking lot full of Impalas.
Oh, absolutely. Couldn't keep them running though, stayed in the shop all the time. Now, the thing about that is, it doesn't have anything to do with this. If they had never quit making that Crown Vic, that was a police cruiser right there. That's where we'd still be today. But because that was a vehicle. And we had some up to just a couple of years ago, still in the fleet, but, so I'm good with this. As long as we understand, I'm good with it.
And of course, this figure here, none of those, if we get the grant for the 3 policemen, none of those 3 vehicles are in here,
No,
correct?
ma'am. What we would have to do, or what the chief has spoke to me about, is that we would keep some of them that we would typically rotate out, which we would keep those, and that of course would make our maintenance.
If you keep those 3, old ones, you're gonna be right back in the same shape. That you're not gonna be doing any good, you're not
It
gonna
would
be doing
either
anything at all.
keeping those 3, or we would have to purchase 3 additional.
Well, you're not gonna be doing anything at all to help get us on because you're gonna be keeping 3 old vehicles, and it's gonna put us right back in the shape where we came from.
Right.
Bottom
And
line.
rotation, yeah.
Yeah.
Bottom line, that's the bottom line.
If we hired 3 new employees, and if we needed 3 new vehicles, instead of using 3 existing ones, those are not in here.
But we may could use them for a while,
We could use them for a while, and we could use them when one breaks down, one's in the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, use them like spares.
Absolutely. I would rather let you use them than go out and buy a $60,000 vehicle and then outfit the new ones with a $20,000, whatever it costs, $10,000 a year, and you got to fix them up. I don't know why we would use them, we're using 2013.
I mean,
use 2014.
we could use them and then add additional 1 per the next 3 years. Instead of buying 2 or 3, we could buy 4 and add 1 for the next 3
But
years.
then you're throwing your rotation out.
Well, we would be adding to our
Right.
Fleet.
our
You'll be
fleet.
adding, but you'll be trying to buy more than 5, right?
No.
We had to buy 5 to get caught up.
To get caught up. Okay, then if you reuse these and we got it on how many year rotation?
8 years.
Okay.
That was a target.
Yes.
That was a target.
Yes.
But I'd rather much buy 5 later on, I mean, get these here, and if we do get that grant.
I see what you're saying.
But if we say, and I don't remember, I don't know if I'd have to check with the chief and Eddie to see, are we on to where we need to buy 3 every year to stay on an 8-year rotation? Or are we
That's what I
on
was
2
getting
to
at.
stay on an 8-year rotation? I don't know what that magic number is right now, because I've been focused on like today.
Yeah.
So when we get on that rotation schedule of 8, what is it that we have to stay on an 8-year rotation? And whatever that is, if we add 1 additional for the next 3 years, then we can, or add 2 for the next year or 2. Or we could buy them all 3. It's just if we had to buy them all 3, that
Y'all
would be
two
a
have been on
major
board for quite
impact.
some time. Before we bought the 12 at one time, what rotation were y'all on? Was there any kind of rotation at all?
1, if we could afford, there was no rotation at all. That's where we were trying to get to.
Yeah.
Well, we got
definitely
down to
need
where
a
we couldn't keep the
rotation.
vehicles on the,
Because in
couldn't keep the vehicles on the
2006,
street, so
in
we just,
2010, we couldn't even fund the capital
yeah.
at that time. For 2 years solid, we couldn't fund it.
But what we did with the last purchase on the vehicles, when we did that pretty good sized bunch of them, Because it got to where we just couldn't keep vehicles on the street. I think we got about 10 or 12. 12. But what we did there was, it worked really good. We got a real low interest loan, paid them off for 3 years. That's what we did, the way we done
Reason why
that.
we can't go
But we've got to work that, we got to work them into the rotation. We got to work them into the rotation. And I'm just saying, you know, the purpose of them American Rescue Fund that we voted on was for replacements. That's what the purpose was. That was what the intent was, put it that way.
The
And that
fire,
was- Okay.
I'm sorry, are you ready?
No, I'm done. I'm through.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm all done.
Fire department, their first priority was 17 Swift dry suits and duffel bags for $19,515. The next two are exhaust system upgrades, and that is for one for Fire Station 2 and one for Fire Station 1. That's because the exhaust systems are so close to the sleeping quarters. So that will need to be upgraded. Again, that's a safety issue that is next to our employees and where they sleep. So that's something that needs to be upgraded. So those are the second and third priorities. They do have a request for 2 vehicles, and I have requested them to break that out between the vehicles and the equipment, and the reason being is I didn't want the vehicles to look like there's such a large cost. The trucks that they're asking for are $42,000, $42,850, and the equipment for that is $35,150. There's a lot of specialized equipment that they're asking for the vehicles. I know that one thing they're asking for is to have a storage area in the back so that they can put the turnout gear in the back because of the chemicals that are in the turnout gear. Currently, they sometimes carry that inside the vehicle, and they do not need to be carrying it inside the vehicle. It needs to be outside the vehicle. So if they have the equipment that they need attached to the vehicles that they're requesting, this will allow them to have that gear, and actually all of their gear, but the turnout gear as well, with them at all times so they can respond easier and not have to carry it inside the cab.
What year are these vehicles, Dan?
I'm sorry, I can get that for you, but
I
I'm
can tell
not
you
sure.
one of them's old. Like one of them's old.
It's like an old Trailblazer.
Yeah.
2006
The other one, I don't remember.
That Tahoe's fairly
Dorothy, you
new.
remember 5, 6 years old? Maybe
Maybe 5 or 6.
5 or 6 years
Hadn't
old.
been too long ago.
And I'll have to
But
check
they
with
were
them.
bought, actually, 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, one of them, and what he's gonna do is trade down. So like if that is not the oldest, he'll trade down that for the training vehicle and then trade out the oldest within what fleet he has. So he will be getting rid of 2 vehicles, but they may not be the exact cabs that he's replacing here.
Okay.
But he does need to keep a vehicle for them to be able to go back and forth for training. So it may be that he keeps one of these trucks, but trades out one that they're doing the training with.
Well, what he's getting rid of is SUVs.
Yeah,
Right.
it may be.
I think so,
don't
yeah.
doubt it.
Yeah.
I believe it is. The
I'll have to
SUV,
ask him, but I
think
can
it
have
is.
that information for you.
Yeah, I believe it
Sure
is.
it is.
Sorry.
The Tahoe, the chief drives is a 2016, and the Chevy Trailblazer is a 2008.
2001.
They're both over 8 years, so they're good to think. We're looking at 8-year rotations, they're both over there.
Yeah.
Now, will that apparatus have to go on the 401, not 401, the truck, the long bed truck that they have to? Was that something that's going to be replaced as well? Because maybe, possibly, or are we just talking about the Trailblazers? Or I'm sorry, the Tahoes.
These are all trucks.
They're going 2
They're going
trucks
2 trucks. These are all trucks.
instead of SUVs.
Okay, so we're just going to trucks, not having SUVs.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay, all right, never mind.
But they might be gonna keep an SUV for training. I'm
That's
not
what I would
sure.
say, to keep that 16 for training.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's one that they're gonna keep and trade down.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not
The
sure,
newer one.
I'm not sure. But what surprised me was, and I didn't know this, that there's some kind of chemicals that they don't need to be in
The turn,
all in the
yes.
same. So what does a fireman do when they suit up, get in a fire truck to go to, do they not have the same chemical?
It's after the fire burns, whatever they spray or
Okay,
it's
But you
what,
think inside a cab, you're enclosed with the hotel.
Okay.
it's not when they leave, but it's when they come
When they come
back.
back.
They have all that.
Use it, correct.
Yeah,
I do got a question, I have no problem getting the vehicle, but is there a reason why we can't use 1,500s, why we have to go to 2,500s? Can you explain? We're not pulling anything.
I would have to ask why the request for that particular truck.
I mean, 1,500s are a whole lot less money. But I just wonder why we're going to 2,500 trucks.
I bet you four-wheel drive.
1,500 or
Yeah, you get
doesn't
four-wheel
matter.
drive,
That's what I'm
1,500
saying. Why are we going from 15 to
Yeah,
20?
I don't know.
I can
I mean-
ask that for you.
But they don't pull a trailer to a fire.
Yeah.
So I'm just worried, why can't we save some money? Why can't they get 1,500s?
I'll ask.
I'm okay with getting vehicles, but explain to me why we need 2,500s.
That's a good question.
That's a heavy duty.
Anything above a 1,500, they're not pulling a boat to a fire. We're not gonna pull some things to the fire. Save us some money, go to 1,500. Get them there just as fast as 2,500. And it's diesel, and I guarantee these are diesels as well.
Talking about boats, how do they pull? I don't.
I was gonna
just
say, I
know
think
they
that
got a
might
boat.
be,
Yeah,
1,500 will pull them, but they got to go to the river.
Okay.
Yeah, 1,500 pull a boat.
They're not gonna pull no yacht to a safety thing, no.
And the training trailer, that house-like trailer,
1,500 is still pulling
Still
75
pull
to
it.
10,000 pounds, yes. It all depends
And I
on
know
its
you
equipment.
mentioned maybe having a winch or something on the front of it. It wouldn't matter for that either, right?
What do we, yes, what do you need a 20,
1,500
I mean,
could win
1,500 would
I
too.
don't know. Maybe when they got on site, if they had to have it, I'm not sure.
I mean, if we
But
need a
I'll
winch,
ask them and see
yeah.
if we can get a cost difference between those two.
That's what I wonder. I mean, I'm okay with getting, I'm just asking why can't we save some money and get a 1,500, because 2,500 is a heavy-duty truck.
Okay, sure. They did ask for replacement of the entry doors and the bay doors.
Excuse me, before you leave that, I did ask, and he said, sorry about that, Jamie, but he said the 1,500 just wouldn't pull the weight of the hazmat trailer, so that's what his response was.
What size is the trailer? Is it 24 foot or is it, hazmat trailer is only 15 foot, I thought, or 12 foot.
He just responded, they are heavy with all that equipment. But we'll find out the answer, because I need to get more detail.
They
But
explained that the last time, though, we talked about how heavy the hazmat thing was.
But
So I
for
don't
four
know.
2,500, I mean, what
I
I'm
don't
saying is
know.
yes. I mean, I'm okay if we're gonna get one to pull that trailer, we don't need four to pull the trailer. I'm just saying, we're gonna try to save money, that's a way to cut some costs.
You can come back with a difference, and then we'll talk about it.
They requested the entry doors and bay door windows to be replaced, but currently that's just a cosmetic and visual thing. They're not leaking, the doors work perfectly, it's just something that we need to have updated, so unfortunately we had to remove those two for now. The kitchen furniture, for Fire Station 1 and Fire Station 2, they're asking for furniture for those. Right now, they just have a small table, and their whole team, or the whole, I want to call them a squad, that's not right. Crew, there you go, thank you. I didn't have the verbiage. So the whole crew is unable to sit down all at once, so they just have a really small table. So if they wanted to sit and share a meal, or sit and train, or have a discussion, they're not able to do it. So he's requesting some table and chairs there, and I think maybe a piece of furniture, a chair or a couch or something for one of those. And I know that they're requesting one additional bed, possibly 2 additional beds. So I know that they have one spot at Fire Hall 1, or 2 spots open for bedding, so that would allow them additional beds for 2 firemen if they get them, and then possibly a 3rd for Fire Hall 2 if they were to get the additional firemen. So that's what the $8,321 is. 3 sets of airbags That is a rollover for FY '23. That's been approved in FY '23, but we do not think it's going to be purchased and paid for in FY '23, so that's just a rollover into FY '24. Planning has 0. The streets requested a 1-ton pickup truck with a utility bed for $62,000. They also requested a 3/4-ton truck, but at this time, that one has been removed for now. The city garage had.
Is that a replacement truck or is that just a new vehicle?
I think they're all replacements.
Okay, all right.
I
That's
believe
good.
so. City garage had 0. Solid waste or waste collection, they requested an automated garbage truck, but at this time, we are unable to fund that request, so that's been removed. The recreation center, there's a request for paving at Don Davidson Park for $47,750. That's their first request. Resurfacing and painting the tennis courts for $25,000. That's one that we've worked with a different Parks and Rec department to kind of get information on, and working with someone outside to be able to resurface it versus milling and pulling up the whole surface. So actually being able to resurface it is more cost effective, and that is a high request for the Recs department, because right now there's a lot of cracks, and very deep cracks and separated cracks on the tennis court. So that is one that's really going to have to be prepared.
It's out at the main tennis courts on 6-4 highway.
Yes.
At the behind the rec center.
Behind the rec
I
center.
see that needing attention, but that's paving at
What
Don
about-
Davis, I think it's gonna be a waste, wouldn't it?
I think ended up around the
No, this-
concession stand.
This is
ball
the
field.
center between all the ball fields.
Yeah.
It's the
It's-
cross.
It's
yes.
paid now, right?
No.
Right now, it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Busted up real
Well,
bad.
when it floods in there, guess what's gonna happen with this pave? That water's gonna get in there and bust it up again.
Well,
the
it
thing with
used to be.
Blacktop forever though, you gotta think, I mean, it's been okay for a long time, even with those floods, I mean, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying, is it black, I can't remember, is it black
It's
top now?
blacktop.
Yeah.
It was prior to construction.
Yeah.
They dug it up when they
When they
did that work, and then they've got to run that pipe
Right,
through
they gotta do
there.
the pipe.
So it has
So it's
to
just for that
be,
center
Yes.
only.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
The cost is going up with everything.
And I think there may be a way that we could do the pickleball and tennis court
Right.
too. Just painting the lines so we can do double function of the tennis courts. So
I
that
agree
would be
with
good.
that. We need something for that.
And when you look at the resurfacing, I think when I arrived, he had a proposal to do a whole new one for about $160,000, and Mrs. Owen has worked with him so we can try to restore that at a much cheaper price, and we just feel like we get the same use by restoring it if we would have been able to get a bigger one, a new one, it should.
So resurfacing, this will be 2 courts that we will have, right? With 1 court on this side, 1 court, and then the 2 pickleball courts. Correct?
Yes, you'll still have the 2 courts, but the way it can be painted, you
Right.
can do
Okay.
pickle court.
Gotcha.
So it could be dual purpose.
Right.
can you do a pickleball inside the rec center where the big open area is? Could you do
I think it's gonna
pickleball
be
in
too low
there?
with ceilings.
Yeah.
You probably, there's beams in there too.
Yeah, I don't think
So
it'll work in
it
there.
would be kind of hard, you know.
But I mean, I think we cater to the young people, we do need to cater to the older as well. So I think that's, and that's growing. Pickleball is a fast
Oh, yeah.
growing company. It's very, I mean,
It's young and
I don't want to play it, but I mean, I know it's going pretty big, and it's growing.
It's growing.
They deserve it,
They
absolutely.
even got professional pickleball players.
I heard it.
You see my name on the chart?
Not yet.
No, but I think that's, I would love to have that, absolutely.
The third one is a strategic planning. This is money to get us started on the strategic planning for all of the parks in the city. We realize it may not get us completely, but this may get us through the first few phases of it, so that'll get us started, I think. The heater core replacements, they have had trouble with their heater this past winter. Luckily, we made it through the winter without it completely dying. We had it repaired, but it's gonna have to be replaced. It's got a lot of issues, but we did have maintenance on it this last winter, so that one is one that we will, if we don't replace it now, it may be winter time when we see it pop up again, so. Stonebridge Park, swings and tables. I don't know if you remember, but this is one where in the CIP, we requested to have it in phases, do so much per year. So this is the first phase request of $15,000 so that he can update all of the swings and the tables throughout the parks.
Does he want to go with wood again or a different material?
I believe it's wood that he's asking for.
Didn't we talk about like getting that not rod arm, but the like what's on the picnic tables that's crisscross, it's metal?
Mesh metal.
Yeah, mesh metal. I thought we had talked about that at one time.
We
Instead of,
talked about that, we got prices on like memorial benches, and they were a different material, weren't they? They weren't wood.
No, they're not, they're metal.
I can confirm with him if you want me to,
Well, what would be best for the flood zone? I mean,
for the flood.
But how long,
Those
but
tables would rot out in the heart.
how long
Yeah.
has it been there anyway? How long has it been?
and it grows up, and you can't really.
What about, there's that material that's,
Hollywood.
Yeah, right. I mean, they've been there for a while anyway, hadn't they? Already.
that
they've
looks
been there?
like wood, but it's not really wood.
It's a
resin type thing, resin. Trex is something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's expensive, but it
Right.
lasts forever.
Right.
Well, wood will grow that moss and
Yeah.
everything up.
bees get in it and
Rods.
everything else.
I mean, if we're gonna spend that much money, I'd rather see us do something else.
I'll ask him, see.
Well, these rubber dipped metal that's there, they've been there a long time and they've had a good life, whatever, you
That's why I said,
know.
how long have they been there?
Yeah.
They've been there for quite some time.
Right. And they've held up well. I think, I'd say, I don't know who, people at the park have gone in there with knives and carved the rubber off and all that type of stuff. But as far as them holding up, and they're nice and heavy, so they're not going to, float off or anything like that. So,
And there may be another type of material when you ask about flood zones. I think now society has had to build around so many flooding issues. There may be another recommendation, but we can find that out.
There was a request for LED lights at Stonebridge Park. We had some discussion on that to see, one, were the lights there working? Were there any that were out? Were they visible? Had there been any crime reported there? What type, some reasons? I mean, I know that we might need them, but were there any safety or security concerns with the ones that we had before we cut them out? The answers to all of that were no, they just kind of needed to be brighter. So, felt like that could wait until next year since we had none of those concerns or none of those boxes were checked. So, unfortunately, we removed that one for now. So if we can find additional funding, some of these we can bring back in. Kids Park roof replacement. I forget exactly what that one was for. I'm sorry.
It's the one that
Coke machine.
Jack and Brian has been looking at. I forget what the building's called.
So that's probably the only building that's there is the one that's got the big roof on it, and then you got the benches there. So I would only assume that that's the building you're talking about.
Oh, well, there's one on the other side. There's two. There's one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there's one on the other side, and then there's one where you said the
Closest to the bathrooms or further away?
My understanding, I get confused on these buildings.
There's one that's got Coke machines on it, vending machine in it.
Yeah.
And there's one that does not on the other side.
Yeah, it's just got benches where they go sit down and eat, right next to a sandbox,
And I'm
closer to the field.
I'm thinking it's the other one, but I'd rather get an answer because
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
still
have to
getting
ask
familiar
them
with
for
all the
sure on
buildings.
one of those, but one of the buildings was needing roof repair, but I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
but I know they've been looking at it over the last couple of weeks.
Sorry. There's $10,000 requested for the gun range. I don't know, I think pretty much all of you guys have seen kind of what shape our gun range is in.
We've been
terrible.
talking about this for years. I'm
Yeah.
afraid this one is good.
Yes.
How y'all
So-
feel, but
It's
We,
just not only for the public, it's for the officers too, training.
and a lot of people enjoy it.
yes.
I mean, they do, they take advantage of it.
So we had a meeting this week talking about the gun range and kind of to go back through it and look and see, to make sure that we're doing the things that we need to do. You know, is it the safety concerns, the buildings, the structures that are there, just anything, any kind of controls, the policies that we have in place, all of that, just going through the whole.
And to add just to what Jamie was saying, since I've been here, we have increased the rates from $3, I think, to $10. And it's just so much that need to be done. We increased the rates, but we have not done anything with the park. I was out there probably a month ago, and there were just a lot of red flags out there just kind of that need to be addressed. So we're trying to get a comprehensive plan to do some things. Eddie has been out there just over the last week, do some stuff just with the pavement, Eddie's crews, but it's just a lot of things. I mean, it was dangerous prior to that time, just even getting there. I mean, you had to go through almost, so it's just some things we just need to address at the gun range if we're gonna keep it operating.
Do we know what the revenue was this past year from the gun range? Are we keeping up with that?
We're trying to track that a little bit better on how we're doing. And it's one of those things we really got to work on, how that revenue has been collected. It goes into the general funds, but we have to do a few things. For example, we found out the way it was being operated that maybe like Alderman Jeff can go in and bring about 10 people in, and we are not really counting revenue but one person, but being multiple uses. So there's a lot of things we got to do just to even correct that. And some of this money will be going to a way we can't track even the use.
We've only had one chart. You've asked this before. We've only had one chart. It was one pretty chart one time since I've been here.
Yeah.
That was
On the
it.
revenues?
Yeah, it was just
Yes,
one chart,
we've
one time.
never seen-
And I think that's crazy that we can't keep up with the revenue. Regardless if I bring 10 people in,
Yeah.
we should be enough finding out how much money this place is.
Well, it's been a flag, and we have started discussing how do we get that.
I think that needs to be taken. I would think that would be something somebody needs to get fast.
Exactly.
Do they still, and I haven't been there in a while, do they still continue to lock it with a key and then you gotta go get the key and then you leave? Has there been where people have just left with the key, didn't even return it?
Well, you can
And then
buy a yearly key.
Okay.
People can buy yearly keys. People can buy the pass, but if you want a daily pass, and then an out-of-town pass for a day was different, but.
But do
it's
they
not-
keep that key though when they leave? Or
If they
go
do,
get it?
They leave, yeah.
You can charge them, I think they've charged them like with theft or something like that till they
Okay.
come back or whatever. But I don't know why we couldn't put a lock on there like you do, you know, at Airbnbs. And when they come and they pay, you give them a code,
Yeah.
you key that code in, and there should be revenue for anytime you issue a code.
That would be.
And that
harder.
would keep-
I think that would be harder, because then if I have 10 people want to go with me, y'all stay over there, I'll let them go get the code.
Well, they're gonna
They're gonna do it
go,
anyway, but still, I think
Yeah,
that would be a
they're
little
gonna
harder.
do- you
But
can't
for us not to
control that.
track the money, though, I don't understand why we're not.
well, that would track the money.
And now that we're actually went up, I mean, you gotta find some type of way to do
Oh, there's holes in the roof, and, I mean, it was
That's right.
embarrassing
It's
to
bad.
think that we charged $10 for people to go in there. It's such a mess. But I would think if you used that code,
To put a key in or something.
that would, for every code that was keyed in that box, there should be money. There should be a revenue.
Well, in this day and age though, everything should be kept up with on
Yeah.
computer.
I don't understand why we're not keeping.
There's a revenue code for it. I
Yeah.
just don't know exactly what.
It's not,
because-
well, yeah, and James is right, let me clear it up. It being, but it's not a consistent way, it's not a just really clear way that it's been keeping. I mean, Jamie and I asked that same question about a few months ago, because we were trying to see whether that money was going directly just to the gun range. So we were trying to see whether we could use it, found out it was going through the general fund, but we do not have a quick way, if the alderman said we need to do that this can kind of show how the money's been tracked. And we do,
We should be able to see how many people went in February, how many, well, at
Correct.
least how many keys were paid for.
Correct.
It doesn't matter if 5 people went in or 10,
correct,
you know, we should be able, I mean, those things should be easy.
correct. It should be, but it's the way it's been tracked
Yeah.
over the years.
And
It's
one thing
another
that
cleanup.
we-
Sure.
Another
I've
cleanup.
been saying this for
And
years, Kevin.
we've been
since you
looking
were
at
here.
it. We've been looking at
January.
it.
There's a, and how much revenue that, if we knew how much revenue that thing brought in, I guarantee it'd pay for this.
And I believe the same, I believe it's,
Losing, yeah, the money's walking away, because we can't get no proof where it's going to. I don't-
if we had a
I think that maybe,
responsible way to.
you know, if one person pays for the keys, you might have.
3 or 4 people.
Well, that's okay, I just wanna know how many people paid for the key.
Yeah,
I don't
and
care
we
if
can
you
find
figure
that
it
out. I just haven't, you know, we just need to work with the rec center on seeing, I can see the revenue, but I can't tell how many keys go out.
If there's a receipt written, if nothing else, we could do it like the 1960s and count how many
Yes.
receipts we've got.
Yes.
I mean,
And one
but
thing that
I've
will
never been
help
able
is
to
when
get
they get
that
their
information.
software, you know, instead of just having pieces of paper, you know.
Yeah, you don't
Challenge.
need to have that. No.
You know, when all this started with the rest of Miss Brenda was going on fast way, she was using a notepad to find out everything was lost, what, 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Definitely room for improvement, so we're working on it.
And it would require someone randomly going by there. If you sold 2 permits this morning, I would go by there and check how many people are in the
Absolutely.
shooting. You know, it's a little bit of responsibility. If you sell a
How much
house.
The
property?
key to
do-
that though is cameras.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's another thing, we're behind about 20 years on, I think. We don't have cameras in places that we should have them.
You gotta be careful where you put them.
Yeah.
I mean, everywhere, I'm on camera everywhere I go, all day long.
I think as long as you post it, cameras,
We
you are
should
on
be.
surveillance.
Once you go in the gate, you get post a sign, yes.
Surveillance cameras, as long as you post it, you're covered.
How much property does the city own on that side that is strictly for the, I know the dump, you go behind the dump and you gotta be careful because you're gonna run over nails or something, you get a nail in your tire, but how much does the city own past that gate going in?
Goes all the way up across the hill.
All the way up across the, so could we possibly even like say to keep count who goes in, who doesn't go in? You have something there that you can't get a car up there, but you have to walk or have a little.
You attach to.
But
A lot
I
of
agree.
equipment to haul up there.
That's a lot. I mean, it's seriously. I mean,
Well, I mean, I've done it, but I'm not everybody. So, but I mean, that was just kind of a thing. Maybe you can keep track. People going like over a key, or you know what they do with the thing. You go in and you're counting how many people's actually going in, and you can't pull a car up in it. That way, 8 people don't get out on one person. You see what I'm saying? So.
You carried a box of ammo and 2 ARs
Yes,
up there?
I have, man. I've done it. Of course, I was 19, 22 years old, but
We ain't talking about BB guns.
Spread out for the day.
You make it, yeah, go carry your 2 ARs and 3 boxes, 3 ammo boxes.
But I guess what we're saying we want to start doing with this money is start trying to correct some of the things that need to be corrected, whether it's the
No,
tracking.
somebody's got to take responsibility for
Yeah.
counting this money.
Exactly, that's part of the tracking system, security system, cameras, whatever. But it's some things that need to be done out there. And, you know, and we just hopeful that this will help us to start getting out there and assessing and doing some things that need to be done out there. So,
Dorothy and Danny, they're retired. Donna, y'all retired. Y'all need to go out there and start counting.
Dream on. Have a nightmare
Hey,
when
I'm not in this conversation right here. I shoot on their farm. My whole family shoots on their farm, so we got a good range on the farm, so. So I don't get into
Come
this.
out there and, you know, show.
I'll let you go, my lord. Bring you a target.
Okay. The next one is $4,000 for basketball goals at Kiwanis Park.
I thought those were gonna be donated or
Messed up
something.
on that one.
We
It
lost
was
an
involved.
opportunity.
That should have been done a long time. That's
No, it
embarrassing.
was free money. that
It was
they
free.
gave
It
away.
was.
From where?
Kiwanis.
What happened?
You didn't tell me.
We
Because
did
I
get
didn't
an
think they were doing that.
They, from what I was told, Kiwanis sent the goals, they said, we'll purchase them for you, but you want these, and they were never responded back to us, but I don't know.
And that's the story I've been told. But I have spoken to Kiwanis, about a month ago. That consideration is still there again, but we haven't gotten final approval yet.
I talked to the president though
Adam?
last week,
Yeah.
Keith White, and the money.
Keith is not the president.
Oh, is he not the one now? I guess he was when it first started,
Yeah.
but the money's been distributed somewhere else, is what I was told.
Yeah, they had to close that one out.
On a beautiful day on the weekend, y'all need to ride by there, how many kids are out there playing?
Well, I would say we take this $4,000 off. I mean, we need to work, or you think the money is gone totally, or they'll have to?
And Mayor, this is a new set of money that's being considered. I spoke before the Kiwanis Club, I guess, I'm trying to see, it was the same week as the retreat, the strategic planning, and they are reconsidering the new allocation.
I don't think we need to take it off. There's a lot of kids that walk a long ways to play at that park, and I think they deserve it. I really do. I think it's taking.
Oh, I think they deserve it, but I think we need to work and repair this relationship and let
I mean,
them.
we have other parks they could help us out with that. I mean, for right now, I think we need to work in this park as well. I mean, if they want to donate some money to another.
But it's the Kiwanis Club.
Yeah,
It's the Kiwanis Club.
and
but I'm saying,
they
I mean,
emphasize.
we're not promised them they're going to give us that money no more right now.
And they emphasize it's the Kiwanis Club, so they kind of want to focus on their club, so they did emphasize that.
What if we took it out in hopes that we can work with them, and if not?
No, if you got new money and it's in there, leave it.
I was going to say,
You're
once
giving
we
up
take
the
it
farm, you can give up $4,000.
That's exactly right.
Surely.
No.
Leave it in. Then if you don't have to use it, move it somewhere
We're
else.
already done the lake, why are we not, that's right.
If it's there, it's there, and it'll be good,
Yeah.
because it's just
agree.
$4,000.
I agree.
Don Davidson Park containment wall, that was requested, but we had to remove that.
What is it?
It's a wall that kind of, that brick dust that's on the field, when it washes out, it'll wash all out when it floods and rains or whatever, and that's a wall that stops all that dust from coming out so they can distribute it back out into the field, is what that is. Just to keep that dust from coming off.
Okay.
I knew the brick and the dust, and that's all I knew.
Because it
Like a
blows
mulch
away,
bin,
it blows
like
out in
a
the
mulch-
grass.
Yeah, like a mulch bin, that's what it
It is.
is. But it's for
And then there's a request for 2 press boxes. Brian did have the thought of possibly having these donated or sponsored, but we are not sure that he has none that are locked in. He has none of those secured. So right now we're requesting to add 2 in. Then if he has any sponsorships for any and those are approved, then we could add more as we go. But
This is at Don Davidson, these press boxes?
yes.
Which fields is he looking at? Did he say anything?
Sure, the main.
He didn't
I think,
mention
I want to
specific.
say city school system's gonna do.
Well, what you call it right now is doing something, they're painting the buildings now. right?
Leadership.
That's leadership. And
They're talking about these here,
Build a little.
right behind home plates, what you talking about?
yeah,
Yeah.
they're talking about doing, I know the baseball
Yeah.
field for sure, and I didn't know about, I'm thinking maybe the softball.
And
field.
they do have some money put aside,
Right,
so that would be nice.
but I mean, I know there's more than that though, so I guess they can go for.
There's more than he originally had 4 in requested.
Okay, well then that might be city doing two
So
and him.
I asked him if we can we'll put 2 and then he could work to get sponsorships for some of the others. So
Okay.
we compromised.
Okay, they need
You
it, that's
better
for
to
sure.
have it in than
Yeah,
not have it
They're,
there.
they're real, didn't something happen on one? Yeah, we lost one.
Hell, yeah.
Yeah, something, Rick, not
But they replaced that one.
did they, the bricks and everything, something failed.
The dugout.
Yeah.
The dugout, they had
That's the one that.
build a wall.
And then the last one is swimming pools, and there are no requests for these this time.
So, bring it forward fast. Y'all maybe would answer this. I had somebody ask me, and I told them it was fixed. Do I need to go back and apologize? somebody said the slide was not fixed. I said, it's fixed.
I was
Oh,
told
They,
that.
because we researched it, correct?
Yeah.
We've had a report that it was fixed.
That's what I was told. I said, she said, no, it was not fixed. I said,
But-
yes, they said it was
And they
researched.
snowed again yet last year, they had to come back.
I knew- that's why I knew that.
But I'm pretty sure they fixed
Yeah,
it.
you're right, because it was, I think it was repaired before I got here, but something went wrong, and they had to go out there and do something else to it, so it did have
It
some
was
type
under
of,
warranty, correct?
yeah, it had some type of damage, but we
It
did go
was,
back
on the
out
seal, some kind of
and
seal.
did something, yeah,
That's been since I've been here,
yeah, exactly, it was.
but early.
They repaired it, yeah.
Right before.
Like they painted it at the wrong temperature or something and
Something,
it
something
cracked
was-
or something.
Something correct or
Okay.
was
Yeah.
not installed or something.
It was a company error.
Yeah.
They came back and fixed it.
Correct, they
That's
did come and
correct.
fix it.
Well, we
Okay.
probably need to make,
I was just gonna ask, that's what.
Yeah.
Before we moved to Parks and Rec, and I can't remember where we discussed this, but it was recently, the chemicals in that room and all that. Does that take
Last
that?
month.
yeah.
Yeah, last week.
Last week,
Yeah.
Okay.
last week.
Is
Yeah.
that
Still
something
there?
that's budgeted to fix, or?
That's a management thing, and Brian and I talked about it. As a matter of fact, that was what I did, the first thing I did after leaving this session, so.
Okay, so the money's in the budget for that.
I think that was more just
Okay.
kind of, because it was a storage type of
That's
thing.
what it
It
was,
just-
yeah.
Yeah,
There's additional money for additional chemicals, but there's
Yeah,
nothing
not-
for additional equipment
Right.
in here.
right. But I think that issue just was making sure that they were stored in the correct place and
And secured.
secure.
Because it's open and anybody can get in there. So
That's
kids get in
correct.
there playing in that
Oh, you're
chlorine
talking about the building, it's open on the right-hand
Yeah.
side.
Right.
Yeah.
behind the
Yeah,
pool.
and we have had that discussion, so, and that was not a budget thing, but just people doing it.
Looks like we're done.
Yes, the last one is landfill, and it is just a shared expense with the county, so.
All right, Jeff.
Basically, we're just projecting next year at 121,000 expense, and we are sharing that 50/50 with the county. And this one will carry no balance. I guess next, we need to bring in, I will bring payroll information back to the next board meeting for the tax discussion.
Are we gonna go through outside agencies? We've not.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
we can go back
Sometimes
through
it doesn't.
that, yes.
Real fast though, and are we gonna discuss what Zach had said about, can we go ahead and see about what it would cost to put some speakers at Kids Park? I mean, at Stonebridge?
We can bring that back to you,
Yeah.
because what we'll do is we'll call the company and give them, what we did for the square is we gave them the layout of the land, the square, and then he gave us the projection of the speakers to tell us exactly what we needed to cover that space. So we'll do the same thing with the park. Christie gave them the layout of the land, and then he gave us and told us that we needed the 12 speakers. So we'll do the same thing with the park, and we can bring it back to the board. Oh, the nonprofits.
Nonprofits.
Other general government.
Big paper and little paper. Which one should I be looking
One of the numbers has been updated, and I've got the wrong number on the big paper, probably the wrong number. Jane, you sent us the right numbers, didn't you? On the school.
On the schools,
You corrected that.
I have an updated sheet. Did I give you one? There's printouts on my desk, if I didn't give that to you.
I don't believe I've had it.
We didn't get the,
We just got one from last week.
We got that last.
we did, this was from last, she's fixing to give us an
I have one
updated sheet.
printed out on my desk.
Yeah, this
The
is,
number on
only
the
thing
school
it's
is
this is
gonna
what we
Right
used
there.
last.
Yeah, I
week.
changed
It's been updated
mine.
since
Yeah.
then.
The only thing it's gonna change is,
Glasses too, these are numbers on.
the other one is you're gonna get a little bit bigger.
No, I mean, I just
The school's number will change because I had it equal to FY 22's number, and it needs to be equal to FY 23's proposed. So with it being equal to FY 23's, their request number will actually grow to.
Yeah.
Because
I got the request at 980, 860.
What now?
yes, that's right.
We got
Okay,
an
so see,
updated sheet.
the 22 will go to 952, 291.
Right.
So then this one's gonna go to 980, 860.
Oh,
Oh, this is the new up to date one.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah, this is-
Oh, well, it's been enough to come in.
Thank you for making it clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can't have chairs, can we have magnifying glasses?
And that's the only thing that has changed. So the ones that, again, the only thing that I have loaded in my numbers currently is I have the approved column loaded in my numbers, which consists of flat to last year's numbers on anything except for items that, well, the mixed drink, of course, because that's kind of state driven, so that's an estimate. The airport is projected an increase because that was grant driven. The chamber tourism is requested to go up $4,000 because, again, that was a grant-driven request.
I have a problem with that.
Yes,
The reason I do is because Main Street has applied for and they have received 2 grants, and they're not asking
for an
for
increase.
4,000. I think that you should budget that. If you look at it, all of Chambers' request totals $31,600. That's the general operations, tourism, Hamburger on the Hill, host, and music at Stonebridge Park. 10,000 of that comes out of tourism. But they should take that out of their budget. And the county only gives them, I'm not saying only because it's important, any amount they give, it's $19,000. So we're giving like 1.5 times more than what the county is given. And now, if we add another $4,000 to that, you know, I just think they need to, I mean, that's a lot. If you're not going to give Main Street their 5,000 increase that they ask for, because they do as many or more festivals, they, you know, take it out of their budget. They don't ask us for additional match money.
But don't Main Street bring a lot of revenue for themselves when they charge for all the vendors?
So does Chamber if they work it.
But I mean, they don't bring near as much though, right?
They've had increased expenses, have they not? Expenses?
Main Street.
Chamber?
Chamber.
I thought they did.
What?
I thought that's what she
We
told
pay
us.
for half of the windows, the roof.
They came and asked for a certain amount from us. And we wouldn't give them what they wanted, because I asked a question, they asked for this amount, I asked a question, what's it gonna really
Yeah,
cost?
I remember that. Mhm.
What's it gonna really cost? She said, well, it's gonna really cost this. And I said,
That was
I'm
the
not
windows.
funding no more than that.
Yeah.
But she said, well, we're going to have to come back and ask for more later. I don't know what she meant.
I thought she said that they had increased expenses because of putting on these things that they had.
Could be,
They
I
hadn't had
know,
anything in a long time.
I know the
We
roof,
gave Main Street 5,000 last year.
We did. We did go up 5,000.
and the roof and the
That was just to
windows.
equal out the tourism.
The windows and the roof, they wanted X number of dollars, and we asked a question. We want the actual cost.
I
And when we
remember
got the actual cost, we cut their request down to the actual cost. And she said, well, I'm gonna have to come back and ask for more during the next year's budget. I don't know what that meant.
That was on the music is when that was
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but, you know, we went up last year on Main Street because, to equal out the tourism part. But Chamber doesn't have rent. They pay no rent. Main Street's got rent, and they take that out of their budget. And we're only giving Main Street 25,000 compared to Chamber's 31,000. And they cover and they work and, you know, they're covering their own expenses. They do not come back to us for any additional, or they haven't so far. You know, we haven't had to pay for windows. We haven't had to share parts of the roof. We haven't had, I think the chamber came back to us for fans for the concerts in the park. You know, Main Street has had to ante up from their money, so I think it should be, you know, fairly even. If you're going to give Chamber 4,000, then you should give Main Street 4,000.
I don't
Why
have a problem
not?
with doing the $4,000 increase, it's just whatever the board wants.
Just we do a straw.
To both of
There
them?
being a grant, though, I mean,
Right.
I see
And they
why
have
you're
to match it.
doing.
And that was just somewhere to get us started.
Right.
That was just a
Well,
proposal.
but Main Street they've had 2 grants recently. They
I'm
got,
telling, why would they not have,
they took it out of their budget.
so they just took it out of their.
Yeah, they
Yeah, they-
just took it out of their operating.
Chamber ends up with almost nothing at the end of their spending. Main Street's having festivals and events, and they've generated all of that. They're a little bit different animal. And they have, just deposited 13,000? So, I mean, that's how I'm looking at it.
Why is Chamber not generating? They have hosts, that's supposed to be the largest
Because all
festival
the
of the year.
expenses that they have had to take on each year goes up, and they barely break even. That's how, I
I
believe that's
don't know
what we're saying.
what expenses.
Whatever they have to hire to put on these events. They have
It's the same
trolley cars have gone up. The people that they get down on to do the host of Christmas past, all of this has increased.
Well, I mean, Main Street's going through the same thing with Slaughterburger. And they make 13,000, and the host is supposed to be our largest festival,
I
and
see what
they
you're
lost
saying, but I don't know why
$434.
the difference is there. I don't know why Main Street is depositing and Chamber's not. I just know what they've showed and what they said.
And then they have, so they have host of Christmas Pass, they have music at the park. I think they operate off of donations there. They said in their package that their revenue on membership was $55,000. So,
I'm not sure.
I mean, that's a lot of
Why don't we
money.
do a straw poll? See if we want to or not, of the 4,000.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's
easier
what we're
do it
going to do, but that's why I'm
I
saying.
mean, here
it
now,
seems
see who
like
wants to
we're-
give it to them, who doesn't.
That'd be the easiest way to do. What do y'all think?
Well, I think you need to know the reasons why, I mean,
But they both cater to different people, honestly, they really do.
Different
Events, they really do.
stuff,
I,
yeah.
with me, with Chamber, I
It's
think
not-
Chamber.
it's not a competition.
It's not, but they do cater to different types of people. I'm just saying, the host is for kids and everything, it really brings a bigger crowd.
Well, I just know they said that the expenses have.
And I agree, I'm okay with 4,000
And the host,
for
they don't
Chamber.
charge for vendors to
They
set up.
don't.
yes.
Not for all of them.
Right.
I used to,
It's
I did it for
volunteer.
2 years. I did it for 2 years. They do charge for vendors to set
For
up.
the host of Christmas Pass, I thought you
Yes.
had to be a non-profit, because I've set up there, you had to be a non-profit.
You
set
have
up
to donate to a nonprofit.
Let's do a
if you
straw
start
poll.
there.
Okay,
Jeff,
I'm good with it being a grant, I'm good with it.
I'm good with it.
Mr. Bryant,
No, okay.
No.
I'm good with it.
Jacob,
No.
and I'm good with it.
What about school? Are we gonna do anything with school? We normally give them 3% increase. Are we gonna do that or not?
See, I was thinking the 952 was 30%.
No, no.
No, that's extra.
No.
You know, when I looked at it, that's what I thought it was.
Sorry.
No.
I say no in schools. Because they're about to get
Well, we'll be
about
increasing
$8
their
million.
We'll,
No, but that's
we'll,
not set in stone.
we'll be
County
increasing their
has to
maintenance
pass
with
on
that.
that's
They
gonna
haven't
be-
done that at all yet.
They are gonna do
Well,
it.
they haven't though, I mean, and that could take another 2-3 years before they ever do that.
What we typically do is, if, now, I'm gonna go back and say how it used to be a long time ago because we stopped all that nonsense, fixed that problem. Typically, what we do is if we give our employees a raise, we give the school system a 3% raise, like we do our employees. If we don't give our employees a raise, we don't give the school system anything. They ain't set in stone, it's just how we done it. Jeff, you on that board? What do you think? What do you want? I mean,
I mean, we've done it every year. I mean, it's, I know it goes back to an old handshake deal. It's not something we have to do.
no, this one don't go back to the handshake deal.
You talking about the top one up here?
Yeah, that used to be a handshake deal, but we fixed that. We voted to do away with all that handshake stuff.
Is that 3%?
It all
I know
started.
it's not something we have to do.
Yeah, no, you don't have to do it. No, you don't have to do this. There's
I mean,
nothing that says you've got to do
it's
this.
done every year, so.
This is a choice.
I think because they're an entity in the city, they need their 3%.
Absolutely, I agree.
Because everything that they get is behind what they spend.
Absolutely.
They have less students. They're down to 1141. And when we were giving them this increased amount, supposedly they have more students, but their students are reducing.
Well, we didn't give them the
It's right.
3% because of the student number at that point, though.
Yeah,
We
but
gave
if
it
you
to
have
them
less
because it was
students, you're
because it
spending.
was the cost of living that we did. It wasn't because of the number of students.
But if you have less students, you have less expenses, right?
In what?
You're still operating the
In
same
what?
amount of buildings.
Well, if you
Your
got-
operating
Yeah,
expenses don't change.
If you got less students, you got more problems. You got more
That's right.
expenses. Because what happens is, every one of those students that we lose about $9,000 on each one of them. And we've lost
The state
over
gives
three, we
less
lost over
for their
300.
students too, so they need their operating money to take
Yeah,
care of
so
their
that-
everyday operations. If I'm
I
not
don't know how many
mistaken.
we've lost, but we lost somewhere
Well, Bill
300.
Hopkins gave us the number here,
Did he?
what, 2 months ago?
Well, I'm talking about-
Last month?
Yeah, but I'm talking about where
41.
that number was at when it topped out. So anyway, you lose $9,000 about on every student you lose. And we lost at
That's
least
from the
three.
state. You're
That's from
right.
state and federal. Yeah, and,
And you have less teachers, so that's less money.
yeah,
Some of the classrooms are coming out of the seams, some of the grades.
With less students, it's
Yeah, because I
gonna,
mean, it's not every, I mean, we may have so many kids in 5th grade, 6th grade, and 7th grade, but yeah, some teachers are teaching, 12 kids, some are doing 20-something or
Oh,
30,
yeah,
yeah, so yeah.
each class at ours.
Yeah, so that's what I'm
But
saying.
the operation of the buildings, the maintenance,
It's
all of
a
that.
complicated
stays the same.
system because it looks
probably
like,
what's happened is they've
it looks
dropped.
like you're giving them a
Where
lot,
they used to
but
have
what they
a
get.
certain number of third grades, it might have went down on third grades.
but you're losing teachers.
That's-
You have less students and you have less teachers. So, I mean, it's gonna be less expense.
Well, I just put it out there, that's
Yeah.
whatever the board wants to
I
do,
don't
I
think
mean,
they've lost any
And-
teachers.
whatever you want to do, whatever.
Yeah,
you
they
want to do.
have.
I mean, who have they lost?
There's several. You
In what-
go
in-
ask Bill.
Where? In the-
Teachers?
Where?
They
In
haven't
the
lost
middle
several
school?
teachers, not many.
Or they just,
Well, that's what the teachers are telling me.
Move off
I'm
or
just
what?
getting it from the teachers.
I don't know if they're moving them from, or I know there's been some teachers that have moved from the city to the county, but I don't think Nikki has told me that they've lost.
But they're not
They've been
losing
replaced.
positions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've been replaced.
Yeah.
they've been what?
Replaced, they didn't, I don't think it's.
That's what I say, they're not
being
gone. It's not like that they're
replaced.
short of teachers there.
Right.
Well, because it
Well,
doesn't
that's
matter the
not
number of
my point.
students you have in a grade, you still have to have a science teacher, an English teacher, or math teacher. It's not
Right.
like you can say, oh, we're gonna do away with social studies or science, you know what I mean? We still have the same number of teachers.
Right. I mean, it's our school system, I'm good with doing it. It's
Absolutely.
3%, so I'm good with it.
I'm okay.
Me too.
I am too.
Can I ask the question?
No.
Just for
Since you
my
asked so
sake,
politely.
do I need to budget them for whatever increase the city employees get?
No, it'd be,
No, 3%,
3% is the max.
just 3%.
Okay.
If a city
I just
employee
wanted to
gets,
make sure.
if it's, no, there's nothing tied to that. That's just that that's what we've been doing in the past.
Okay, because
If
I
the
thought
city
it was.
employees were to get 6%, no, the school system only gets 3%.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
If the city employees don't get anything, we might have to come back and look at this.
That's right, too, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that, with what y'all have dug up tonight, you're right.
So anyway, right
It's a
now,
lot, Dorothy, I don't know,
You sure did.
We have dug a pothole. Dorothy's act like we done
We didn't
Lincoln
dig a
County
pothole,
Lake.
we dug a canyon. Excuse me, y'all dug a canyon.
track over.
That's it. Dug
So
in deep.
for the first line, we're going with the 980,860.
Yeah, which the change would be what, 28,569?
Yes, so I will bring back numbers for all the changes that we've made when we meet next.
See if it pans out.
Okay. The airport authority, how would we like to proceed with the airport authority?
Well, I don't think they got a choice on that. They got an issue with the runway, and normally every single year, they don't ask for hardly anything.
They haven't for years.
And give them
We need-
what they
we need to
don't
ask
use
for
to.
A token,
I think
a
that's
token
right.
amount.
So we're okay with the 4912.
It's either that or shut down that runway.
Yeah, but you're gonna lose a lot of big company people coming
You
in.
got that right.
Yeah, I'm definitely forgiving them.
Yeah.
Another, two other places I think we need to look at where we're giving them zero is the arts. It's Carriage House Players, we're giving them zero, and the Arts Center, we're giving them zero. Yet in the chamber book, we boast about how we support the arts, but we really don't.
This is the first time she's come to us, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
They've canvassed,
I'm not for starting anything on
That's
them.
a one-time.
Yeah,
that's a
I'm
one-time
not
request
for
that they
starting
make.
nothing on
That's a one
this.
time, okay, okay.
It's a
On any
one-time
arts?
request. No, I'm not.
On Arts Center or Carriage House?
I'm not.
Well, then we need to take it out of our advertisement
Well, take it out. Take it out.
because.
Tell them, take it
Yeah,
out.
because like Carriage House, I think with that building, that request is gonna keep growing.
Well, I would say,
That's
I'm
a
not
big
saying give them
responsibility, that big.
50,000. I'm not saying give them 50,000, and I'm not saying give them 8,000. I'm looking at like $2,500 each, just so we can say we support the arts. Let's start that relationship. Let's, and this might, but you're looking at, people coming here. That's one of the things that they look at when they look at, community living. Not all kids are athletes, and that the art center is used daily. They have all sorts of classes. They have all sorts of events. They're trying to raise their own money. They're applying for grants, and we're not going to help them 1 cent. I think that I just think that's terrible.
I'm not for starting nothing new.
I'm for taking away Carriage House all the way if they want, just take that, but I wouldn't mind giving some to the arts.
It'll be every year though, if you start, it'll be.
You start with one civic group and you might end up with all the civic groups in.
But we can give the school 28,000,
School is an entity.
But the
29,000.
school system belongs to
the
us.
city.
The school system belongs to the city of Fayetteville.
Are they going to give us any of the big money they get?
They're gonna educate our children and grandchildren
Yeah, that's.
and great-grandchildren.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't believe it.
But the Carriage House, we're taking completely out, correct?
They didn't get anything anyway.
No, okay. I'm good with you.
We have a couple others too, if we want to go through them line by line, or how do you want to?
You just got two more, what are they?
Well, I've only put in here as if we met it even to last year's match. I figured we could go through any of them that requested a change, and you could either
Okay,
approve.
that'd work, yeah.
Okay, number
Yeah.
13 was the senior citizens. They requested 12,750. I have 10,000, which was matching last year's. Is there any objection to leaving it at 10, or what would the board like to
I'm okay with
request?
that. I'm okay with 10.
I said it from the last time, this is me, I'm all for giving the money for the senior citizen building, because I feel like they're left out. I think the seniors needs, I don't know what they're wanting to approve with $2,700, but
I'm good with either one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna argue with it, I'm just saying I'm good with either one, but I would like to see us do something, but if we don't, that's, I'm not gonna get upset about it.
And can I ask something? I guess it's just historically been done this way, but why is Fayetteville City Schools even listed with this? Why are they grouped together with outside agencies? I'm just
Especially if they're in
curious.
within our
Why do they not
It's
have
just
their
money,
own?
it's just money requests from, I know they were
Right.
upset with
But
that
all
too.
these are like nonprofits.
But they're one of that- they're part of
You know
us,
what
they're
I'm
1%
saying?
of us,
To me,
that
it's a
aren't they?
different, like, Fayetteville City school system's a totally different
If
animal.
I can address
Money
this,
request,
Okay.
if I can address this,
Okay.
and this is my 18th year doing budgets, all the ones in Birmingham, we always address the school system as a non-department, as well as in Tuskegee as a non-department. So I have not seen a municipal budget that did not put them in a category as a nonprofit, because you got a fluctuation of going up or down, but the main part of it, the budget is for operating. We do not
Okay.
operate the school system, so that's one of the reasons.
Okay,
It's
so
better
they-
look in the audit purposes to have it as a nonprofit.
Okay, so it's normal for
It's
this.
normal.
I mean, I
It's
just
normal.
asked because it seems so different than the other one.
It was
Yeah,
different.
it's normal, but it's typical to put them in a non-department.
Okay,
My stepmother was
They have
chairman
to
of
have,
the
they
school
have to
board.
have
We
some
did it.
process of asking.
Yeah,
right, okay.
Because what happened 3 years ago, they didn't ask.
right,
They didn't get anything. They didn't ask, they just thought it'd be automatic.
right.
We didn't give them nothing because they didn't ask.
Right.
So they've got to ask through this process or a letter or something.
Okay,
I
And
think the 2 years of COVID where nobody had to come ask, got them upset this year thinking, why am I coming? I hadn't been coming. But before that, they were coming every year to ask, so.
yeah, and I remember that. I just wondered because I didn't know.
The only
Was it
difference-
normal to have them grouped with the nonprofit? You know what I'm saying?
And even the school system that Bill came from, I know the board chair personally, they had to go and ask. It's
Okay.
part of a nonprofit system.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Senior citizens, so
I think we're all
have
good
one
with
that
10, I think we're all good
wants
with 10.
to, so do we want to
Well,
start?
I'm okay with 10.
Yes,
Okay. 10, I'm fine with that, that's what I was just saying, I was just saying.
10? So 10, so everyone wants to leave it at the 10?
yeah, they're really, if you look at their budget, they got a big budget. They get a lot of money from other places.
Yeah.
Up in the way up, I don't forget what it was, but it's a lot of money that comes in that place.
Yeah, I think they get some grant.
And we're gonna do a parking lot down there, right?
Right.
We're gonna spend $30,000 to do a parking lot down there.
Yeah, we discussed
have-
that last time, okay.
We have a
Yeah.
good relationship with us. They come to us before when they needed something,
Yeah.
correct? And we were there for them. So I think they,
We work well with them.
If they
yeah, I think
needed,
they know that.
if they had needed capital expense, like a library, we'd
Yeah.
look at it, I'm sure.
Well, we've helped them when they come, did they come back last year with something that, some kind of drainage issue that came out there? Did we not help them with that?
Air conditioning.
Yeah, that was-
It was something big, yeah.
Yeah.
The next change would be number 17, Humane Society. Last year they received 75,000. They were requesting $129,000.
I say stay at 75. It's up to y'all.
I'm totally with
I called, and I don't mind, I mean, I called Kevin and discussed him. I'm okay with 75, I would like to see us give some more money, but are we ready to take that on if this fails?
So.
Can our city handle it? Can we
So,
handle it?
Let me disclose this. We have started having a regular leadership meeting last month, the 1st of March. We do have a big leadership meeting coming on Monday, is that correct? But we have a leadership meeting with the Humane Society chairman, the county mayor, our mayor, and that's on Monday morning. So we're talking about a lot of things, including the future. So I say this, even though we have had some very good meetings, it's still a little too early to call to see how that relationship is going to be on all parts. But it's been a very cordial meeting. We're sitting down talking about things, coming in with an agenda, but still, and that's even inclusive of the Humane Society. They also have some concerns about, continuing this relationship. So I think before we make a total call on this, let's see what comes out on Monday. and this would make meeting number 3, so hopefully we'll know where we are seated there.
I'd like to ask you if you know anything about this. I talked to a county commissioner today or yesterday one. The county had over $200,000 of American Rescue funding set aside for the animal shelter. Now, this is several months ago. And we got all crossways and all this kind of stuff, and I think the county said, well, look, threw their hands up and said, well, look, you know, if you're gonna act like this, we're not gonna do it. But then I was told that they did give them that money, over $200,000. So check on that and find out.
Okay, I have not heard that
So at
one.
all.
Huh?
No.
I don't think so at all.
Bill had said that he set aside that money,
Right.
but it
But then
was
there
not
was-
promised
Okay.
Right.
in any way.
Well, the one I talked to thought that they actually got it.
I think when the talks broke down is when they decided
Exactly.
not to,
Well, I'm surprised because the one I talked to usually knows everything.
But on that note, did you discuss about a vehicle with the county
We're
or the
talking
city?
about it. As a matter of fact, we have had the vehicle, the current vehicle assessed. It's been down at Eddie's shop, and we got a whole site of things that was fine with it. They got it where it can operate, and it was some things that were just, you know, I don't like to say this, but some gophers have nested in there and had eaten through some of the stuff.
Come on,
So some of the
gophers got
stuff
in.
had to be replaced.
Somewhere to live.
But they got it where it's functional, and that's gonna be on the agenda on what about the vehicle stuff too. So, but
So you think it's repairable?
it's repairable. You know, Eddie was able to do it, get things running. Now, he said he's not advising it to go to Memphis and back, but it is functional, and he was able to get it functioning for about less than $650.
Well, that one time they told us that they wasn't using that truck, as using a van that someone gave them, or they had a van out there that was using.
And they do have a van. It's but they're saying that the van is not built really for animals to kind of
Yeah.
get in.
That's the one they pick up and put it
Yeah,
on top. It was two
exactly.
off the ground or something.
Exactly. So, you know, we do have some vehicle questions on what we do, and that will be a part of the agenda, but for now, that vehicle can operate and do what they need to do. It's just not the best, and Eddie said it has problems. They got to do some stuff about the seat belts, but just to get it operating, they were able to do it at a minimum, but it has to get in there and get some seat belts and some other little things.
Is that a city vehicle?
So the vehicle was donated by the city, but the question of whether it's a city vehicle for your purposes, I think the way the city did it, they donated it and it's under the shelter's name.
Well, I know we paid for it.
Yes, that's
I
correct.
don't know whose name it's in, but
Yeah.
I can remember, because the one that they had was a disaster, we couldn't fix
Correct,
it.
correct,
And I remember we made a motion, buy them a truck, and the county didn't help on it.
correct. And you're absolutely right, but for the sake, when we donated it to the
Their name,
Yeah, so
Okay.
they're full owners in it, although we
Cindy had
have.
said something about the seat belts. Did they ever check if can they ever check with the company so they can get it done for free? Seat belts are warranted for life on all vehicles.
Yeah, and Eddie says, he was very clear. He said, now, he's not gonna recommend people use those seat belts.
And I mean, you can go back to the manufacturer, as long as that vehicle is in operation on the road and it's not a salvage title, they're replaced by the manufacturer for free.
We can
I don't
see
care if it's
about
got
that.
5,000 miles on it.
We could see about
I would
that.
check on that. Seat belts are always warranted for life.
Yeah, because he did say whatever happens, they're gonna need to be replaced, so we'll check on it.
I know a little bit about the car business, we'll check on it.
But too, and just to say, the Humane Society is not exactly sure they want to continue with us
I
either.
don't believe it do.
And they said if we don't get the 129, we're definitely out. So I don't know.
I don't need it.
I don't know if that's still,
So we put Plan B into effect.
Yeah.
Do we have Plan B?
We're working on a plan B, as a
Okay.
matter of fact, depending on, the meeting on Monday, we will be informing the board about the plan B,
So if we have a Plan B, the building out there belongs to city and county together. So if we separate, we keep the building.
we need to come back and talk to you all about it, but it is our building. We're the owners, they're tenants, yes.
It belongs to the city
It
and
belongs to
county
the city,
together, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
And I guess if we separate, their $75,000 is gone.
That's right.
Yes, because that's operating, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause we're only paying them monthly now, right?
That's
Not
correct.
quarterly.
We don't have an established contract. It's still a month-to-month basis.
Okay.
Yes.
Because the contract expired, so we
Correct.
just went month to month until we decided what we're gonna do.
Exactly, it's a
So we're gonna
month-to-month.
continue that.
I think they won't out.
I think they
I
want,
think so too, but, you know, we'll see what Monday brings.
because they came back, they wanted a new commercial dryer, that's $20,000. They came back and they want, more things broke last week there than I've ever heard of, so I
We
think
can't
it's
take
just.
on their salary request and pay their salaries and benefits. And I mean, that was asked too, wasn't it? I
Yeah,
mean, that's
the
what the increase was
129.
about, to help them pay salaries and benefits. We've never done that to anyone.
But then they moved people full-time, gave
Doesn't
benefits, gave
make
raises.
any sense.
I'm kind of like Jeff.
In reality, I think they want out, but they still want to build.
Maybe it won't be the
So
headaches.
That's the problem. They still want to live there, but they don't want to,
Yeah, they want the building.
Plan B, check.
They want the building?
that's what they want.
They want the building? You're right. Dream on.
That's what they want. I mean, that's not necessarily, I don't think they're just really into continue the relationship, but they really do want to build.
Nah,
Talk about your cake and eat it too.
well, maybe they can get a half a building. I don't think they'll get our half.
Yeah,
Well, they won't want, don't they? But they've got a difficult job, though.
they do have a difficult job, but they can have their cake and eat it too.
Wouldn't Plan B be cheaper though, from what y'all looked into? I know Danny thinks it might be a little more expensive. I think it might be cheaper. from what I've heard.
Well, I don't know. I'm willing to wait and see.
I think it's gonna be a little more expensive, but I don't think it's gonna be significantly expensive. When I say a little more, I don't see it being more than a few more thousand on both bases, here and there. And then a lot of it just gonna be the setup cost type of stuff.
Well, we gotta have that building.
Yeah, I don't,
Well,
yeah. We
you've
don't
been
have
out
any
here for a
options.
while. Do you remember when that was run by two people?
I do,
I don't.
because
It was run by
when
two
I was
people.
here at
I
night.
remember when it was run by just
I
a very
support it.
small amount,
Uh-huh.
but not necessarily two.
And Denise and
Denise is
maybe
one.
a couple of people.
Denise is
Well,
one.
then there was Betty Cunningham and another guy, and
Yeah,
they had all volunteer. Everybody else was
most of
volunteer.
them
The difference
volunteers, yeah.
started with the humane part of it, and that's
Yeah.
adopting out animals and traveling animals to be adopted here and there.
Okay,
And that
so
was
this
never
one-
part of what we gave them anyway.
When they did
then
away,
they-
when they did away
Animal
with
control.
euthanizing or whatever you want to call it, the animals, trying to, that's when everything went sky high.
Yeah,
It just went,
they became a no-kill shelter.
that's right. That's where everything went
And
sky
even when
high.
they had the two, they still had adoptions.
Oh, yeah,
It's not
yeah,
like they
yeah.
just euthanized everything. I mean, they still had
I
adoptions.
remember
It used to be somewhere
Denise-
else. It wasn't in that building. It was out by
The one that-
Frito-Lay or
but
somewhere.
now,
else.
before that was at Frito-Lay.
Yeah.
It was up behind Frito-Lay.
But I'm old, so I'm Jacob, you probably don't.
No, I don't know. All I remember is
Either.
Skip being out there Frito-Lay.
So they had animal shelter.
I didn't know that was all the time.
It was up behind Frito-Lay,
Yeah.
up on the hill up there.
They grew up and moved down.
Country comes to town.
But it was.
I could appreciate what they're trying to do, but can't afford it.
No.
And I don't know if the city and county was together at that time or not. I don't remember.
I think they were, because Walter Sloan was on the board, and he wanted to know if they were town dogs or country dogs that were coming into
Town
the
dogs.
shelter.
So, Mr. Bryant, you said we own that building, the county and the city owns that building, and the building is, it needs a lot of repair. Now, I know if they're not gonna do it, and they don't wanna be there anymore, but they wanna stay there, who's gonna, well, I guess they would be responsible for fixing the building, or?
Well, I don't-
Would Steve?
No, they're not gonna stay there.
Okay,
We would have to deed that building over to them.
okay.
We'd have to sign it over to them, be rid of it. Then what would we do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where would we be? There, if we separate,
That's not it.
it's gonna be a complete separation, 100% more likely. I don't know where they'll go.
And we would have to provide animal control,
Absolutely,
but just animal control.
yeah.
So for the budget, do we remain at 75 for today?
I think that's the general consensus.
Okay.
If we don't decide to cut it.
Yeah.
Then I have upside.
And at that point, if, they could always come back and ask for an amount as an outside agency, but it's no guarantee that we'd give them any,
Well, I think there's too much water on the bridge for
Yeah.
that. We got beat up on Facebook and chewed out and nasty emails.
Just like we're saying, we don't want to add new stuff, so.
No,
I think that falls under.
No, I would never go back dealing with that group right there. Not to give them no money, I wouldn't. Just my personal opinion.
Okay, number 18, carriage house players. Do we increase, leave it zero, change?
Whatever.
I believe
There
it's
had been
zero.
anything. Yeah.
We've-
No.
Okay,
That would be a completely new one.
okay, so we're staying at zero for now?
That's what I
Okay. The next change is Main Street Tourism, no, line 20. 127,500 was last year's number. The request is 134,452.
That's the library.
That's a lot more. You.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Your eyes
I'm
are
sorry, I'm
crossed.
sorry. Yes, my bad.
It's getting almost 8 o'clock.
Got my heart beating kind of
They
fast.
take
but I still
on
got
the sun
30
drops.
minutes.
Okay, $10,000, and the request is $15,000. So, which?
I
how
thought
would
we
we
didn't
like to-
cover that.
We did, we said leave it at 10.
Are we good? Is that, I just wanted to go through and make sure, because there was a lot of discussion, I wanted to make sure I had it the way, okay.
Yeah.
The library, 127,500, the request is 134,452. How would we
They
like,
can come to us for capital expenses anytime they want to.
correct?
You on that
Yeah.
board, Jeff? You on that board, Jeff? I'm a little uneasy about increasing that. But what
Because
you on
once we
that
do,
board?
it stays.
The director, which Donna's gonna know how hard it was to find.
Oh,
because
okay.
She is, asking for a raise. She's, I
Okay.
don't know if I guess she hadn't had the baby yet, but she's $8,000 raise is what she's asking for to stay for her expenses for what she says she has there. She's wanting to divide that four between us, four between county. The other was for some smaller stuff. I can be for the raise to get her to stay because I know it's been such a tough time finding anybody that's good to go in that position.
Well, I don't have a problem if that's the reason, because you can't hardly find nobody that run that library. I was on that board and we had some awful people.
We went years
Terrible.
in between.
So I don't have a problem with that. Well, I tell you, one thing I do have a little bit of problem with, and I heard this, Jeff. She wants a contract.
Right.
We should not do no contract, period.
And like I said, that happened the first week I was on that board, and it's still in place, so I'm gonna talk to the board next time we do it, because I talked to Johnny Hill, and he said he doesn't think, the regional person said we would be the only librarian in the state of Tennessee with a contract on a librarian. I think that they all saw it as, hey, this is a way to keep her, but the contract doesn't have anything that's our advantage. There is no, if you leave, you do this, you can't go somewhere within this 5-year period. So I don't understand why the contract is good for us.
I'm okay with the raise for her, but not with the
But
contract.
this raise would give her incentive to stay here.
Correct.
I mean, and she's local, and
Yes.
she seems to really love it.
She seems to be
so-
good. I mean, I haven't been on the board long, but she seems to be a good director to me.
But that board will make that decision probably.
I think there's a good
They-
board on it now, I really do. I think
There's some good
That's
person there,
exactly
but
right.
just with that contract though, I need to talk to them about that. 'Cause
Yeah, I think they need to forget about that contract.
Now, what about Friends of the Library? Do they still do that? Because see, I know they were gonna quit their fundraising, but because they paid
It's
some
paid
off.
off, the building's
But
paid
see-
off.
But see, I wish they would continue the fundraising anyway.
Well,
Are they gonna do
I'm
that?
on the Friends of the Library, and we did
Just
take a
because
break once it got
Lawyer
paid
said
off.
It's not a good idea.
But
He
we
said that
met
he said
with
they talked
the
about it. He said
board,
It's not a good idea for
uh,
that position.
At the library, met with the board, talked to them about finishing the basement, and we would be willing to start back the fundraising to finish out that basement. It would be a good event center, it could be training, it could be, you know, a lot of different things. The library can use it because the library's definitely grown as far as the patrons at the library. And we kind of left it in their hands as far as tell us what you need and what you want. Yeah, I know they wanted part of it maybe for storage, but at least to finish it out, because right now it's a dumping ground. Have you been down there, Jeff? Go down the basement. It's kind of a dumping ground for a lot of
A bunch of
stuff.
books.
Yeah. We got rid of most of the books.
Did you really? Good.
Petersburg Library
Oh,
took them.
good.
So we gave them all the books, and so, but Friends of the Library is willing to help and willing to do. We just
Big
gave
good
them-
project. About
They
300,000.
were very successful
Maybe half
in
million.
helping raise money.
It cost $500,000.
Yeah.
Go down there, Jeff, it's a point you go down and never return. No.
We had one employee, he hid down there. He's so scary.
So I'm good with Henry.
I am
It
just
took a long
on
time to get her, I
the,
do know that.
Yeah.
if it's to keep her on as director,
Yeah.
I know county, last year when we stood firm, county went up again too, so I would like to do our part of the raise. Like I said, it's 8,000 total, 4 for us, 4 for
did they go up?
They went up a good bit last year just on their amount, period, but we
Okay.
stood firm. I've got it with me
Will
somewhere.
they go up for, you're saying they will? You saying they will go up for?
I think the county went up last year when we stood firm. They went up their percentage that was asked for by the library, where we stood firm at our number. We didn't go up last year. And hold on one second, I'll tell you, I've got it, I can find it in all this.
Well, I wouldn't want to be the only town and county in the state of Tennessee with a contract for the library.
Right.
I think it's a 5-year contract. I wouldn't want
There you
to do that.
The county had their budget meetings yet?
go. They're starting.
I think they're in the middle of it too. According to their finances, it says the county gives 132,202. According to their budget.
Yeah, that's what I'm showing, and we stayed at 127.5 last year, so they went up
Yeah.
about $5,000 over what we did, or close to it. And they're asking for 134,452 from the county and from us.
Well, I hope somebody over there makes a point that is to help keep that director. Because I don't know if they'll know that or not, but I hope somebody makes a
Yeah, I
point.
mean, everybody on the board is let her know that we're
Yeah.
behind her, and she wants to stay.
I mean, the county needs to know that
It was hard.
the increase is being asked for.
She was
So maybe they'll go up.
Yeah, I'll
Yes,
Don't do it,
sir.
son.
it was from what I see.
Yeah, yeah.
She's done very good with library.
But they have a representative on board, don't they?
Yeah, they have
I guess the other ones that we had was
Yeah.
moving in.
Well, she'll know then. Tell her.
She'll share.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she'll know.
I'll let her know too that we're good for it, so.
She's done a lot of changes though. I mean, it's been very
Okay,
good.
so,
Up 4,000 over what we've got.
so you're yes,
I'm guessing, yeah.
Yeah.
Ms. Diane?
Which one are we on?
Library.
Oh, yes, yes.
Will it go to 134 or 452?
Correct.
Will it go to?
Yes.
I can remember when it,
That's eight.
That's not
That's more.
what Jeff is saying.
We're just
Right.
going, I'm saying go half the raise. There's other things in here, there's, let's see, what she went.
But we're moving.
Some other stuff was like for some utility stuff and things like that. I didn't know if y'all would be good for anything, so I'm just asking for the raise part.
okay,
It's for
whatever.
4,000.
For
So you just-
4,000 over what we were last year.
4,000.
Since me.
So we're just requesting to add the 4,000.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anyone who objects to adding the 4,000 to the 127.5? Okay, I'll add that. The next one is the Number 22, the Lincoln County Art Center, they've requested $8,000, and we talked about it a little bit. Are we wanting to leave that flat with no new,
I'm not adding any new ones, period, this year.
anyone else?
I wouldn't be against adding some new ones, but, I mean, the board will have it, so.
Heritage Backroads, $2,000, they're requesting $3,000.
I'm sorry, I don't know a lot about that.
I don't either. What do they do?
Brochures, they're
It's
the
a
ones
publication
that
that
do the
Jameson runs.
publications
Oh, okay.
of, if, I don't know if y'all wanna pass it around.
These go to all the,
It's like
out on 65 at the welcome centers.
advertisements and
But
stuff.
yeah, I've been on 65, I've never seen an advertisement for us.
There's
See, now,
a
look, it's not
It is,
just us, but,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
like
it is.
Franklin County, it's everybody.
yeah.
So I had
Telephone
I
line.
think you're right. It
You
went
gotta get out at the rest
But it
stop.
is, they got a pretty big one.
They don't have a
I try not to stop at the rest stop.
Well, it says Fayetteville, but
If
it
I do, I don't
advertises,
know.
Yeah, me too.
this, you know what's so funny, so my brother and sister-in-law over here,
I start
this
from
past weekend.
where I'm starting to my
It's
destination.
brochures, they're at Jack
They
Daniels.
know what they
Yeah, in the rest stop, no way, Jose, no.
But it is one.
So we're gonna just leave it at 2?
I'm good with that too.
Okay, 2,000. I did not receive anything from number 24, South Central this year, so, there's nothing there.
It's- Why would they not request their,
I didn't receive anything either.
That's just a token number. They've got a huge budget. This is just a
I
token
just
number in the
wondered
past.
what the reasoning
It
was.
won't make any difference.
Okay,
If they didn't ask for nothing, fine.
Yeah,
okay.
I passed it to them.
Number 25 is Camp Blunt. This number requested was, I know that 2,399 was for a grant related, and the rest of that was for,
Their Camp Blunt Day, that the
There you
money
go.
they asked for last year, their Camp Blunt Day, the other 2,000. About 2,000.
5,000, yeah.
Yeah.
So since kind of the way I had structured the others was not adding anything new, however, we have given Camp Blunt money before in other like general government and that sort of thing. Since they've came and asked for money, we have funded them prior to them being actually in a nonprofit agency portion. So what I did is I went back and looked at the history to see kind of what the average that we have funded, and it was around $2,000. So the $2,000 plus the $2,399 is where the $43.99 came from. So $2,399 was to help with a grant match, and then the other $2,000 was treating him like he was already a nonprofit because we have funded him prior to this. So what are the board's feelings
Well, I
with his
kinda
request?
told Randy the other day too on this, was I know they've come to us several times asking for money. I said, you know, this is, you need to do it now and then don't be coming back, is was my kind of, the way I put it to him, because I know a lot of times they try to do little things out there that, little fixes that I don't really feel like that's our responsibility to fix that stuff, but I'm okay with giving them here one time a year, but that's kind of where I'm at, where it ain't gonna be all year long, hey, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. Like we've always said, that's a state park, it's not really ours.
Don't even own it.
Well, I feel like once it goes on here, it never goes away.
Yeah, because we weren't gonna add any new ones.
But that's what she's saying though, it's
We
being
have,
given and.
yeah.
But it, not as an outside agency request.
So we
Right,
would
this is
rather,
the first time he's officially done a request, so instead of him piecemealing and doing those requests and coming back multiple
Do we want to
times,
risk him
he's
coming
done
back several
one
times, or
request.
that group coming back several times, or do we want to say,
He thinks that this 43, what is it, 99, will take care of them? Or-
He has one opportunity to request.
$43.99 was a grant match, right?
$23.99 was a grant match.
Yeah, and because of historical asking for the 2,000 over the period of a year. I see what you're saying.
But now, they're getting $500,000 grant. Governor's approved $500,000 out there for them.
So which is better, to put it on here and we know it'll probably never go away, or have them come back each year? I mean, I don't.
I'm tired of them coming back, tired of them coming back. I'm okay with leaving it just like it is, right here. That's not very much, it's not a lot.
And then if we just tell them, that's for the year, that's, don't come back, I mean,
And I
that
think,
day's their volunteer days, we're giving our money for that, I mean.
and one thing with having, the reason I had it here is because with it funded on those miscellaneous requests, it was hard to track. So without me having to pull the GL and see, we spent $700 for, not long ago, for a request that he had. And then an additional request prior to that, without having to go through the GL and pull those and add those up, we really didn't know how much we were giving him. So if we kept it in this, in this area one time, we know how much we're giving him. And we don't have to, it's not hidden in the general government in an account somewhere. It's better identified and better tracked.
Of course, what we're really giving them is this, the true numbers, but not necessarily numbers. We're keeping everything bush hogged out there, we're keeping everything trimmed at our expense, we're keeping security, we're keeping everything that contract says that we have to do. So we are investing a lot in that state park. I'm okay with this small amount, but just to know we're putting a lot into it, we're putting a lot into that state park. And after 2025, the board can do whatever they want to do, about it, continue that or not. But $500,000 grant they're getting, I don't reckon we got to match none of that. We got nothing to do with that, as far as I
For
know.
something specific, or?
I think it's to do with that cabin,
What you have there.
a lot of it. I don't know why you have to have
Not the seven,
$500,000
but
with
the
a cabin.
43.
I could do one
But they're getting so
What
good.
happened?
get one for 20.
The more they get from the governor,
I could get one, I could even do it.
I don't know. I don't know. All I know is they get $500,000.
I'm good whatever way, if y'all wanna do it just during the year is fine with me, or I just think this way you say, one time, we're done, but they're gonna come back if we.
Well, y'all want to do?
You'll be
Leave
hoping
it alone like it is.
You'll be
I put
hoping
43.
43.
You'll be hoping that.
43. 43.
Right. I feel that.
43.
Yeah.
43. Roger's age. There you go.
43. My bedtime, 7:43.
So when, Mr. Owens, when is the next meeting to bring everything back?
And I guess that's the question I was gonna ask. We were talking about it in the meeting between us staff, I guess. We were looking at an option as a finance committee meeting on the 2nd. We also looked at a date. I don't know whether we wanna wait until the 15th, but we were looking at, we start committee meetings on the 1st. We have finance committee on the 2nd. So we were trying to do it in an appropriate time for Jamie to get all of this stuff input, so just.
The second, I'm sorry about interrupting, but our finance meetings don't last that long. We can do it. Are you good with that?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, how you want to do it?
Yes, I'll be here, so it's up to you all.
Well, it'll take several hours to finish this up. Do you want to finish it? Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about our finance ain't that, doesn't take that long.
Well, I don't know about
Yeah, but this is
finance.
gonna take a long time.
This is gonna take a long time. We gotta have a tractor out here just digging. This is the door this
Right.
is.
You gotta find all this money.
So if we do it on the day of the finance committee, we generally get out by 5:30. Can we start?
Is that what you're talking about, just going on?
Oh, I see what
That's
you're
what I
doing.
was saying. I think we just do it right after finance.
Yeah,
Oh, you say
yeah.
that too? Yeah.
I think that's a little.
Finance starts, yeah, finance starts
Then
late.
just do it on a Saturday then.
I don't know about that Saturday business now, man.
When do we need to have this done by? When do we need to have this meeting finished?
You pick another Thursday night. Pick another Thursday night.
Sooner the better.
I got graduation 18.
And I'll send you my schedule too.
Yeah, let's just, y'all get us all together, let us know.
It's been difficult getting us all
I
together.
think the sooner the better too.
Yeah.
We can, if you, on a Thursday night, we have work session, you wanna, maybe the 10th, maybe the next Thursday.
And one of the
The
Thursdays.
11th, the 11th is the next,
Yeah.
is the next
We
Thursday.
talked about that too.
Yeah.
How many days do you need for a public meeting, Ms. Pam?
3.
Three.
Three.
What we do, at least 3 days notice.
And that'll be 2 days after our board meeting.
I mean, as soon as y'all set the date, we can start advertising it.
So the 8th, the 9th.
If y'all do it on the 11th, I gotta work, I'll be on 24 that day, so, but I mean, I'll send you on the 11th, I'm everything in red. But I mean, I can send you what I got.
We were talking about the 15th initially, so you wanna go that far?
Well, on the 15th, I'll work too.
Yeah, I ain't doing nothing on my birthday.
Well, there's the 12th,
I can do the 12th, yeah, the 12th's a
it's
Friday.
on a Friday.
I start drinking on the 12th. No,
Not a Friday night.
I don't think a Friday night. Dorothy, come on now.
That's my date night, man.
Yeah, that's.
We're not
That's my
gonna be sitting
Applebee's
here
day.
on,
But
Well,
what
we can
about
do it.
Wednesday, the 10th?
I can do the 10th. I gotta work the next Thursday.
See what's going on here.
I can't
I
do
got something
the
that night, but I will cancel it. If it'll make it work for everybody.
10th. I can't do the
I'll
10th.
cancel mine. You can't do that?
I'm going to,
And it take me a year to get my physical.
TBA
The 10th
has
is out.
invited us up as
That's a one day.
ambassadors.
You can't do the 10th.
What about the 9th?
We get
I
it.
can do the 9th.
That's the board meeting day.
Oh, yeah.
That's board meeting.
That's board meeting day.
Is it?
What
What
about the
about
8th?
Monday?
What about
Yeah.
the 8th?
Yeah,
Yeah, 8th.
Yeah,
I can do the 8th, I get off that morning.
okay, let's do the 8th.
Do the 8th.
Can I request something better than Subway?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Taco Bell.
Let's see.
Let me on.
No, I'm just joking. Pam's better than Subway.
Budget meeting.
So the
What
8th
time we
is good?
starting?
8,
Early.
early,
30.
4?
Let's go 30.
4 o'clock.
I ain't gonna be here till 3:30. Y'all can have that at 3:30. I'll be here at 4:15.
4 o'clock.
4th, yeah.
4:15 or
You
something.
good with that,
On the
Jeff?
8th,
Be sure to send that out.
8th, 4.
Danny, some of us still work. I know you over there don't work and stuff.
I'm just trying to go with y'all. I'm just trying to go with y'all.
Jeff, I said Saturday. Jeff, I thought you works on Saturday.
I got a full-time job
Saturday, I got
every day till 3:30 every day. She's 14 months old.
well, Jamie's asking a question.
I guess we're gonna do it on the 8th.
Okay, Monday the 8th, 4 p.m.
Monday the 8th at 4 p.m.
Are there any other questions other than the payroll I need to provide? I have a couple other, I know I have to give you the police department, like the fire department, and I'll go through a couple other notes, but are there any other questions or concerns with what we've gone over so far?
Can I say one thing that I'm looking at right now on the director? There's also a $200 a month stipend. So instead of 8 total for city and county, it would be 10. So instead of 4, could we do 5 to include that insurance with her too?
I don't have a problem with it.
Director.
If it'll keep her here, I'm
So
good.
the library,
On the
So
library.
that's 132.
Instead of, she's going from 42.5 to 52.4, so,
And we furnish insurance.
and that's with the insurance.
Yeah.
I wasn't including the insurance in on that first one, and, if we could go one more $1,000, that would cover her going from 42.5 to 52.4.
I don't have a problem with it. You don't want some of the kind of directors we've had before. If she's a good one, keep her.
Everybody good with that?
I am.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, Donna. Sorry. I was jumping the gun.
Oh, well,
It's official, we're good.
Oh, you dismissed?
Yeah.
Dismissed?
We're dismissed.
She said she hit her out of her.